By Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke Grimsley, Danny Mack, Randy Carricker, and indeed it is second alert weather here. It is it could rain.
There's a lot of rain. Well, I think it's raining currently right now, raining this morning. Will it also rain the rest of the day, Randy?
Second alert weather tells us, Brooke, that after the 9 o'clock hour, after the 8 o'clock hour, the rain will subside, and throughout the rest of the day, we'll have cloudy skies in St. Louis, but we will not have a problem, at least a serious problem, with any precipitation. So I think we're all good.
There we go.
Second alert weather right here on 101 ESPN.
It's going to get a little steamy then.
It will. High today of 88, 89 degrees. No,
that's
90,
it?
90 degrees.
Oh, that's not that bad.
No, we can handle that after yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah, yesterday was blistering hot.
bad.
Yeah.
So
It was
there's
a
your
lot.
weather from the opening drive on 101 ESPN. So, and traffic. Can we take the copter up, Matthew? Matthews are...
Can we please take the copter up? I mean, Randy, St. Louis
okay.
needs the vantage point. Thank you, sir.
All right, looking down at Olive Boulevard in Creve Coeur, it looks pretty clear. As a matter of fact, if you want to drive 120 on Olive right now, you can. No problem there. And the sign says, slow down during wet conditions. Don't worry about that. Just have fun.
Randy, usually there's a car going 120 down 270 about this time. How's that going right now?
It looks like there is one car going down 270 westbound. Unfortunately, it's going eastbound in the westbound lanes.
Oh, no.
That is not a good thing. Otherwise, be careful out there and text carefully when you're texting. And we want to be able to read clearly when you text us from your car. From the 101 ESPN Jetcopter 2?
No, Randy.
He obviously, in the stress of driving the helicopter through these tornadic winds, he forgot to mention that you should pull over and then text the show.
Yes, you should.
Never text while driving.
Yeah.
Bluetooth
So
is
that
your
we
friend.
don't get sued.
Yeah. Old guy driving down the highway, his wife calls him and said, be careful out there. I'm watching the news, and there's a guy driving the wrong way on the highway. And he said, one guy? Hell, there's hundreds of them.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, no. Okay, that was good. That was good. That was good.
Dan, you're looking at me like...
No, I'm listening into everything. I just like taking it in.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm laughing. I was smiling and laughing.
We're going to talk, speaking of smiling and laughing, Joey Vitale is going to join us for the 9 o'clock hour today. We're doing this during the All-Star week because there's not an awful lot of baseball to talk about. We got the Home Run Derby here in a moment. But Joey V today, Claibs tomorrow. We're hoping to get Aeneas Williams in here towards the end of the week. Aeneas is a guy that always makes you, when you talk to him, you feel better after you've done so. So hopefully we'll be able to get Aeneas in as well, and some other fun things in the 9 o'clock hours today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. Oh, by the way, Taco Tuesday. So I was having this conversation with a friend yesterday. If you had to give up burritos for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you can only keep burritos for one meal a day. Breakfast, lunch, breakfast burritos, delicious.
Hence, you get one burrito.
Lunch or dinner. Yeah, so you right, but you can get different burritos, lunch or dinner, right? And I am a big devotee of the breakfast burrito, okay? And here's what I'm thinking on Taco Tuesday. The taco judges, the Mexican food judges, don't know that essentially a soft taco is a mini burrito.
Yeah, they don't.
Right? They don't know what
So
I'm
you're trying
thinking.
to find a way to work around this.
Yeah, I've got a workaround, Brooke.
Okay, I would pick dinner burrito. I do enjoy a nice breakfast burrito, but a good dinner burrito, you can't beat that.
Pretty good.
Breakfast burrito for me. Breakfast burrito.
I went breakfast burrito, too. And you know, breakfast burritos, if done right, are really good for you. Like when people, I read this.
You will find a silver lining in anything with fast food.
It's not necessarily, doesn't have to be fast food. I read this in Bicycling Magazine. If you're preparing for a century ride, which is 100 miles, a breakfast burrito is the best thing to eat before you ride that day.
It's not pasta?
Because of the protein. It's got everything you need. It's got the protein, the vegetables. It's got the little dollop.
Well, you put tater tots in there, too.
A dollop. Exactly.
Okay, hash browns.
Little carbo load if you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
Probably worked for Lance Armstrong. That's my guess.
That was one of the things. Did you know he didn't produce lactic acid causes your muscles to get sore? And for all of the things, the steroids obviously benefited him. But his body didn't produce lactic acid at the level that most humans produce it. So his muscles didn't get sore.
Really?
Yeah, even before all the cancer and stuff. And that's one of the reasons that he was so good, because everybody else got sore and he never did.
I never heard that.
Yeah.
I thought Michael Phelps, haven't they said the same thing about him too?
Could be. Yeah, I believe that would be the case, especially for the long distance swimming and
How do you
bike
not
riding.
get sore?
That'd
I mean,
be
I would be
nice.
so sore doing that. I'm sore riding 5 miles on a bike
Yeah.
or walking 5 miles. My little touche.
Well, that you have to build up.
I guess the right side would be little touche, and then
You
you have
have
the
to-
left, it's a big touche.
You have to build up a resistance, I think, as you go along. Like I can do 20 miles with no problem, but I can't right now. I used to be able to do 40 miles with no problem. I can't do 40 miles with no problem right now.
I get concerned when you do the jet copter. You're pounding on your chest, and
No, I'm
you've
not.
had-
I'm in the jet copter, Dan.
Let's be honest about it, you're
Same.
not. So I get a little concerned about that when you pound on your chest like that.
Hey,
for me.
let's don't break the fourth wall over here. Okay, people didn't know. People didn't know that he wasn't jumping right into one. But on the Google machine, I looked this up. Michael Phelps, his body automatically produces less lactic acid.
Huh.
There you go.
What
And
was
with-
his body percentage of fat? What do you think that was? About 4%?
I will find
5%,
out.
something
so
like
you're
that?
saying 4%?
Which is incredibly low, obviously.
Yeah. So, and Armstrong was similar in that his body produced, he has 8 millimoles, I don't know what a millimole is, of lactate per liter of blood. The average person has a value of 12, but after Armstrong trained, his lactic levels were 6, an astonishingly low number for a human being.
8%, by the way, Dan.
8%?
8% body
Wow.
fat for Michael Phelps.
That's incredible. I interviewed him, I think I told you guys, and he was magnificent in front of a whole crowd and well-spoken. They actually brought him in to be the speaker, and he said, I'm not a great speaker, but if you can put me with somebody that can interview me, I'll knock the socks off this thing. And he was awesome. He was one of my favorite interviews I've ever had.
That's
Did
so
he steal the show in dodgeball? I think Armstrong?
No, this was Michael Phelps.
Oh, Phelps. He
Yeah.
did not steal the show.
No, he did not. He was probably watched it a few times, so.
I have to imagine that Michael Phelps is a really fun guy. Just watching him, observing, he seems like he's very fun.
He seemed like he was so relaxed, finally. Like the pressure was off him.
course.
Well, I know. I knew you were going to go there, and I figured I better not say that, but I did. And no, it just seemed like the pressure was off him. So good for him.
Very relaxed.
So last night,
What are
home
we
run
talking
derby.
about burritos for?
Well, we just got Michael Phelps and burritos together.
Okay. All right, go for it.
So Andrew Marsh is a huge home run derby guy, okay? Huge. And knows the history of the home run derby. So one day we're doing the fight at this time of year, and he's asking stupid home run derby questions. He was a producer for whatever show I was doing. I
Were
think
they
it was
stupid
the morning.
because you didn't know the answers?
Yes, they
Okay.
were. And so he asked something like about the 1995 home run derby. Yeah. And so I,
Rocky was just
after it's
scratching
over,
her mouth.
I'm furious. And I said, well, who finished third in the 1988 home run derby? And he just reels it off like that.
It's like, well, actually.
That's exactly it.
I'm very well versed.
He is an expert. Last night, Teoscar Hernandez became the first Doyer to win the home run derby. Bobby Witt hit one to the wall and had a chance to tie it and send it into extras, but he falls 14-13 in the final round. Hernandez walks away with the home run derby crown for 2024.
It was really exciting towards the end. I honestly did think, I'm not rooting for him, but I thought Pete Alonso was going to win it all just because of the experience factor. And then Marcell Ozuna, I thought he would do better as well. So it was surprising to me.
Alonso was the Vegas favorite going in.
He was. And I think he's learned to pace himself during this. There's an art to doing this. Like some guys, the new guys go up there and they're just hacking, man, and they're letting it rip. And I fully understand why they do that. But then by the end of this thing, you're completely worn out. You got to pace yourself to advance in the home run derby.
Can you imagine 1998 Mark McGwire with these rules?
Oh, and he would hit 100 home runs.
He would, yeah.
Literally, I think he did 100.
Yeah, he'd be unbelievable.
The other thing that I noticed, like Adolis Garcia, when he was up there, when they would do the shot from behind home plate, how the ball jumps off a major leaguer's bat. It's incredible, the bat speed that they have. And there were sometimes he's just taking an easy swing and he's putting it into the second deck.
And Teoscar Hernandez's final round, the second half of his final round, when he just let it rip, Vladdy Guerrero said he's going to go off, and then he did.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
So how did you guys feel about it overall? Did you like watching it? Was it fun? Like I said, I thought the most exciting part was, of course, towards the end there because it came down to the last pitch. But what did you guys feel about
I
it?
liked it.
I'm not a home run derby guy.
Yeah.
I'll watch it, but I'm just not a big derby guy.
I think it's so much better now than it was when it took 3 hours and it was timed rather than, or it wasn't timed. It was the number of outs, and it was just like the game. It took forever. And now with the time, I think the fact that every round is timed is a benefit.
I think unless your guy is in it, or if you don't have a big name in there, like when you had Bonds, McGuire, Griffey, some of these bigger names, my interest was a lot bigger than it is now. Mm-hmm. But do I really want to watch Alec Boehm take BP? Not really.
Yeah. I would have rather seen Harper hit.
There's another one. I'll watch Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
Those kind of guys.
Well, he's kind of young and exciting.
No. Yeah. Before this started, by the way, one of the great anthems in the history of U.S. Star Spangled Banner renditions. Matthew, do we have the name of this young person that performed the anthem?
Ingrid Andress.
Ingrid Andra. Okay.
Four-time
Grammy nominee.
Yeah.
Okay, listen to this
Andress.
and try to figure out how Ingrid Andra is a 4-time Grammy nominee.
Yeah, nominee.
There you go. That's a snippet of the greatness of Ingrid Andra on the anthem last night.
You didn't want to play the rest of that, Randy, because I was hoping that maybe, because the national anthem also gives you a chance to redeem yourself throughout it. Mm-hmm. I thought maybe towards the end of it, middle of it, maybe at the beginning she would find a way to really get it back on track, but it just kept getting worse and worse. Somewhere Fergie was celebrating because now she's not considered the worst national anthem singer out there.
I like it when they scroll up and down the line of the players. Their kind of eyes are like looking around like, are you hearing this? Am I hearing it? I'm trying not to laugh. I mean, and then they go to the crowd and people are looking at each other like, what the hell is this? It was terrible.
It was awful. And it's hard. Billy Joel did win at a Super Bowl one time and it was bad. Mm-hmm. It was just, and I'm a huge Billy Joel fan. It's a hard song to sing. But if you're Major League Baseball, you've got to be better.
Yeah, I wonder you got to hit that one on the head.
Yeah, did Rob Manfred even listen? And you've got all of you're in Texas. I mean, you've got all of these country music stars. Remember that one time, 2011 World Series, the kid who won Idol, Scotty McCreery.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, say, can you see? Get somebody like that does a really deep voice.
Well, you had Wayno out there.
Yeah.
You could have just pulled him over to sing the national anthem. Yeah. But Ingrid Andress, that was probably, would it be safe to say, the worst national anthem
ever
performance that you
What about Roseanne?
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty bad.
But she was trying to be bad.
That's true.
This person was, I think, was trying to be good.
Fergie has been considered the worst, but I think this one tops it for sure.
Pretty bad.
It's gotten really dark outside, by the way.
It is dark in St. Louis, and it's not like we're in LA and it's 5:13. It is it's 7:13, so it should be nice and bright and sunny. But we're in St. Louis, so we have clouds and rain.
It is what it is.
Yeah. So if you're sitting in the traffic, we're glad that you're with us. Coming up, the trade deadline is coming up in 2 weeks. Are the Cardinals going to make a big move? Well, they have to compete, and that might not be so easy. That's next on 101 ESPN.
I mean, anytime you get into August, September, you always feel like you can use an extra arm or two in the bullpen. So I think any team that's trying to get to October is going to say something similar. I think for us, it's really our health. What can we expect from somebody like a Tommy Edman now that we have Newpar back, now that we have Contreras back? What ultimately we think our team is starting to come into what we believed it was capable of doing. So now it's a little bit of patience, but what do we have? 2 weeks left before the deadline. So we'll try to explore whatever we think might make us better and see if there's something out there that might help. I think it's going to be a very difficult market for anybody to be aggressive. There's so many teams competing for such few resources out there. And so I think this trading deadline might not live up to normal excitement, but we'll see.
That is Cardinal Pobo John Mozeliak with Jimmy the Cat Hayes on Sunday on Bally Sports. I don't think it's difficult to be aggressive. Maybe it's difficult to have your aggressiveness pay off. But I think the Cardinals are in a spot with the ages of their starting pitchers, with the ages of their corner infielders, and with the impatience of their fan base. I think this is the perfect time, and it's especially with the depth among position players, specifically left-handed hitters that they have. I think that this is the perfect time for the Cardinals to be aggressive and maybe even a little bit over-aggressive if the right player in return pops up. You don't get over aggressive for just a guy, but I think this is a good spot for the Cardinals to be aggressive if the right guy should pop up. And let me make this point. The time for the Cardinals to be over aggressive was when the Padres got Dylan Cease, and they missed an opportunity there because Dylan Cease is tearing it up.
You can be over aggressive, but you better have the right team to take that. You feel that one individual is going to take you to the next level.
Bingo. And I think Cease was that guy for me.
Yeah. Does it sound like he's kind of tempering expectations going into the trade deadline? Because what would you consider normal? When he says normal for trade deadline expectations in the Cardinal sense, what would you expect that to be?
Bullpen guys.
Yeah, but
complementary pieces.
If we look at the last couple of years that the Cardinals were in contention, though, not last year because they were sellers, but when they've been buyers, what do? They go out and buy veteran arms, pretty much left-handers, right? Because it was Quintana, Happ, Montgomery, Lester. So four. So left-handed starters and relievers like Chris Stratton and those kinds of guys.
You know what's interesting is we talk so much about the pitching. Right now, I was looking at the Cardinals where they're at in Major League ranks. They're 26th in hard hit rate. They're 26th in average exit velocity. They're 27th in barrel rate percentage. Only 2 teams have stranded more runners. A bat coming off the bench wouldn't be the worst thing. A bat in center field wouldn't be the worst thing either. But position players are tougher to get at times where some teams will unload that journeyman bullpen guy that helps you out. They need a bat of some sort to help this lineup. And maybe it's the guys that are coming back.
I still feel like they need another arm in your starting rotation. I understand that there will be a lot of competition because there's not many teams that have guys available. Everybody's looking at Crochet and Fetty with the White Sox. But if you look at the month of July, the Cardinals 6.13 rotation, it ranks 28th in Major League Baseball, the ERA, for the starting rotation. And you have seen guys, especially towards the end here in the month of July, really kind of struggle as of late. So I would like to see another arm. By the way, Andre Palante, he had your best ERA out of all of the starting rotation in the month of July. So nothing against Andre Palante, but I don't think that your number 5 guys should have the best ERA out of the entire starting rotation.
Gray, Michaelis,
for the month of July.
Gray, Michaelis, and Gibson all with ERAs above 6 here in the month of July. Yeah. Just something to keep in mind.
And one of the things the Cardinals have done to their detriment is hang on to guys for a long time. And now it looks like Gordon Graceffo might be that guy at 24, and he's made one major league start and has spent just a couple of days at the major league level. It's happened before with guys that just wind up in the Cardinal system. We can all go all the way back to people like, they could have had Kevin Brown for Manny Ibar, and they didn't want to give up Manny Ibar. And as much as I wanted them to keep, and it was this would be a total second guess on my part, but Alex Reyes was a guy who was still valuable after that first injury, and they would not move him. Maybe the Cardinals need to get, even though they've lost some guys, Alcantara, obviously, and Gallen, the most notable, but maybe they need to get comfortable with the idea of being uncomfortable and make an uncomfortable trade and trade some kids.
It really doesn't sound like they're going to do that, though, is the thing. And also, the other part of it, when I was talking about the White Sox with Crochet and Fetty, who are some of the other names that are available right now where you'd say, okay, I would go give up a couple of guys that would be painful. You hit that pain point to get rid of with your team or move with your team. who's available out there that you felt comfortable doing that with?
I think you could look at what the Angels have in the back end of their bullpen. I think that if you went to Miami and the big lefty that they have in their bullpen, that's somebody to look at. I look at it that they've got to just shorten the games as much as they can with bullpen help. And I've been saying that with you guys for months. It seems like that if this is the right direction that you're going to go and every team feels that for the most part that they're in this thing, then go with what your strength is, which is your bullpen. And for the most part, outside of July, as you mentioned, Brooke, the rotation has been fine. They're going to give you 5 innings, but you got to have some fresh arms down there because they've accounted for roughly 40-45% of the innings that you've had.
And I don't think you can count on a guy like Riley O'Brien coming in and being what Andrew Kittredge has been, or moving Fernandez into the Kittredge role and expecting O'Brien to be what Fernandez has been. And it looks like Andrew Kittredge is terrific, but he's just worn down. And after the last 2 years of inactivity, it appears as if in the first 100 games here, that's kind of caught up with him.
I wonder if it's going to catch up with Romero and Helsley. I mean, Helsley's been used a ton too. I think Ollie has used him very well. I mean, they've tried to spot him and keep him as fresh as they can, but that's how they're winning games.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got to get to the 8th and the 9th with a chance to win. And if they do, more times than not, because the bullpen's been so good, they've won these games.
And Helsley, he won't be participating in the All-Star game because of that, because he wants to make sure that he can save his arm for the second half of the season.
All right, I have a question for you guys. Mo in that cut talked about Tommy Edman coming back, and we talk about right-handed hitting center fielder. Tommy Edman in his career, right-handed hitter against left-handed pitching, 277 average, 320 on base, 484 slug for an 803 OPS. Is Tommy Edman coming back? And that's an iffy proposition to me. I don't know if he's going to come back. But if you have the Tommy Edman that has played 6 years, 5 years in Major League Baseball, if you have that guy, are you comfortable with that being your right-handed hitting center fielder?
It's tough because I'm still trying to figure out if he will be fully healthy. It feels like you still might need another right-handed bat, and it doesn't seem like Jordan Walker, based off of the other comments we heard from Mozeliak, that we will see him for the rest of the year. I'm just really concerned if Tommy Edman would actually be healthy enough where you can rely on him for that.
That's kind of the wild card, isn't it? Mm-hmm. You know, what you're anticipating to get Tommy Edman back for, in terms of, when I say for, I mean, what is he going to provide?
Yeah.
What does he give this team? And I prefer him from that side of the plate. If he's going to play him. And maybe that's the platoon that you do with Ciani. Maybe you let Ciani be your left-handed bat. Tommy Edman is from the right side. You kind of ease him back in. And if he goes on a tear, you keep him in the outfield. And he's going to play very good defensively. He's not, I don't think, as good as Ciani. I'm not sure there's many that are as good as Michael Ciani. But if the prices are so high, I think you got to roll the dice and say Tommy Edman is our guy from the right side.
I was just surprised. I want to see if you guys are surprised. Did you realize that Tommy Edman has 53 career home runs?
Yes.
I had no idea.
Yes. It is shocking, though.
It is,
You don't think, I mean, I would have said, for a lot of people, I think they would have said like 20. Mm-hmm. But, it doesn't surprise me. 50-plus home runs. Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
It surprises me he's been around for as long as he has.
Yeah.
Because he's been spotted at different positions. Second base, then he was going to be the everyday shortstop and now he's in center field. So you give him some credit for being versatile, but as you always say, Randy, and we always say, your best asset is your availability, and you got to be on the field.
Important ability is availability.
There you go.
Especially with the wrist, too. That's the thing that really concerns me, is the wrist. I worry about that.
The other part about this, too, is that with Gorman and his plate discipline and where he's at, I don't mind Tommy Edman playing second base a little bit more and spotting Gorman because he's at times just a black hole in your lineup, and that's something you have to think about.
Yep. Now, the teams, by the way, the Rangers are in the hunt in the American League. There are very few teams that are not in playoff contention right now. The Rangers are in the hunt in their division. I would say that the Tigers, even though they're only 7 games out in the wild card, Tigers probably aren't real contenders. And then the Blue Jays, Angels, A's, and White Sox. And in the National League, the only teams that are really out of it are the Rockies and the Marlins. Even Washington is only 6 games out of a wild card.
There's a lot of competition, as Mo said.
Yeah.
If you're talking about getting uncomfortable, what would make me uncomfortable sitting in the seat of Mo is Jordan Walker. And if you traded him, that would make me really uncomfortable. And there is no chance in my mind. There's no I think if somebody calls and says, we want Jordan Walker and we're going to give you this package, I'd still hang up the phone.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals, based upon their recent ability to develop young star players. I think that is probably not going to happen. But that being said, we talked about this a little bit last week. Of the Cardinals' top 30 prospects, even after the draft, now after the first 2 rounds of the draft, he's the only right-handed hitting power hitter they have in the entire system.
Right.
They don't. So nobody. I mean, you got Contreras, Arenado, Goldschmidt, and Walker. Those are the
And
only.
now Weatherholt, you add him.
But he's a lefty, non-power hitter.
Yeah,
So
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's. I would say that the only opportunity you have, unless you're going to trade for a right-handed power hitter or sign somebody, is to have Walker emerge.
You know, the kid that they drafted in the first round, 7th overall, is 4 months younger than Jordan Walker.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think you have to pump the brakes on Walker. I still am a believer that he's going to figure this thing out. But with the upside that's there and the potential that we keep talking about, I just don't think you can give up on that unless you are so overwhelmed that it'd be dumb not to take a move with him. And I just don't see that happening.
And and it's interesting because the Cardinals do care about people being sensitive. But he is a smart, sensitive guy. And I think the Cardinals need to just streamline the message to Jordan Walker because a lot like DeYoung, a lot like Wong, he's hearing a lot of different things, even from the people that matter about what they want him to be. And I think they just have to say, okay, here's what we want you to be. Here's what we want you to do. Whether it's loft and pitch selection or whether it's you be yourself and be just a really good hitter, whatever it is, make sure. And one part of him is being told it's all about the process and you can get back. The other part is, no, it's all about production. That'll get you back. He doesn't know. Because he's got 5 million messages in his ear. I think they need to streamline the message and say, okay, you need to either be a loft, hit, and if you hit fly balls to the track and you're Chris Carter, that's fine. Or we want you to be Jack Clark and not hit as many home runs and hit a lot of line drives. Whatever it is, tell him one thing that you want him to be, not a lot of things.
Exactly. Be very clear, no gray area. And I agree with you guys. There's no way that would move him. You can't give up on him. He's 22. Is it 22 or 21 currently
22.
right now?
22.
22. Just 22.
Yep.
He'll be
22
fine.
years old with the upside that he's got. And he's shown that he can do it in the big leagues.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the other part is that he's obviously had his setback, but he has shown, and there's a point last year for a good month, he was your best hitter in that lineup. So he's shown that he can do it. It's just a matter of putting it all together.
And that goes back to the overall teaching and coaching. We know he can do it at the major league level. Why has he regressed? Why have the Cardinals allowed him to regress? They need to figure out that internally, too.
I would say this, though, too. The Cardinals take a lot of heat for what's going on with Jordan Walker, and I understand why. But you also have to give them some credit here, too, with Burleson, Donovan, Wynn. You know, they have developed some players here, and they just don't get a lot of credit for those.
They don't, but they didn't compare any of those guys to Pujols either.
That's true, but still we're talking about development overall. I think the verdict is still out.
Yep. That's Dan. That's Brooke. I'm Randy. Coming up, the new Cardinal Yearbook is out, and we're going to talk to our friend Stan McNeal of Cardinals Publications about that and where the Cardinals are at the break next on 101 ESPN.
This is Rockio with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Last night in the Home Run Derby, it was a first, which kind of surprised me, as the first ever Dodger to walk away as the Home Run Derby champion. Last night, as Teoscar Hernandez gets a win. Bobby Witt Jr. coming up very short, just at the foot of the center field wall, as he comes up short in a 14-13 final round in the Home Run Derby. All-Star break festivities continue with the All-Star game tonight. You can catch it right here on 101 ESPN. Pregame starts at 6. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
If you aren't aware of how great Cardinal publications are, they are tremendous. The magazine is great on high-quality paper, great photos, great color pictures, and the new Cardinal Yearbook is out for 2024. It's My Greatest Day as a Cardinal. Famous names in franchise history reveal their best day ever. And our friend Stan McNeal from Cardinal Magazine joins us here on 101 ESPN. Stan, good morning. How you doing?
I am doing great. How are you guys?
Everything's great, and we'll get into the magazine in just a moment. But you told me the story the other day about Matty Moe and his greatest day, and I know there's a lot of similar stories. My greatest day as a Cardinal.
Yeah, the yearbook is kind of I don't know if misnomer or whatever, but it's a little bit confusing. But what the yearbook really is, it's like two parts. Half of it is like a beautiful photo gallery of all the players on the roster. We have nice two-page spreads, action photos with some of their statistics. And then the first half is kind of a theme topic that we think Cardinal fans will be, would like to read about. And this year, as you said, we've got a couple of dozen, two to 3 dozen players talking about their greatest day as a Cardinal. And, you would think that a lot of guys are just going to go for their big statistical days or the days they won the World Series or something like that, which is totally understandable. But Matty Moe, one of the newest members of the Cardinals Hall of Fame, he picked the last game of the last home game of the season when the fans sing the national anthem. He thought that, he loved that so much. That's what he talked about, to the point now that he even has his high school team. He's coaching his high school son's team up in Montana, and they do that sometimes before a game. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's great. Hey, Stan, if I would have told you before the season started, before spring training, that the Cardinals in the first half, before the All-Star break, would never have their starting outfield, that they'd get minimal production out of 3 of their 4 right-handed hitters, Goldie, Arenado, and Walker, with Contreras being the guy that is producing, however, he was gone for 6 weeks. And I would have told you that on the infield, Nolan Gorman would have struck out over 100 times. If I tell you that before the spring training starts, would you have thought the Cardinals would be a 50-win team?
Sure, Randy. I knew that Michael Ciani was going to play Gold Glove defense, and Alec Burleson was going to be the team's basically the Triple Crown leader at the All-Star break. No, it's been it's great. I mean, it feels like a team that's going in the right direction, but it's also kind of in transition a little bit with Mason Wynn and Burley and these guys kind of stepping up and saying, okay, if the veterans aren't going to do it, we're ready.
Stan, as you mentioned, Alec Burleson, obviously he was a big star. Michael Ciani was a revelation in the first half. But if you had to pick just one person from this Cardinals team in the first half of the season, who would be your MVP?
Wow, that's a great question. I would probably go with Alec Burleson, partly because I'm working on a feature on Alec for our next issue. But no, I think the way he has kind of stepped up and took over stepped into that 2-hole in the batting order and just been so productive, you could really make a case for him. I guess, Mason Wynn, hard to overlook him as well when you're talking about position players. But no, like we say, it's been fun to see these guys that, we knew they had potential. We just didn't know really when or how much they would step up this year.
Did you guys send anybody down to the All-Star game to visit with Ryan Helsley? Unfortunately, he's not going to pitch in the All-Star game, but did you send anybody down there?
The magazine did not go. We did not go down there. I kind of thought Ryan this year would be in position to close for the NL if they went out, with the lead in the ninth inning. I thought he would be the closer, but he's obviously knows his body and is making a decision to kind of just be there and not pitch tonight. So good for him.
Okay, the most intriguing guy that you've covered so far this year. Pull back the curtain, give us some weird anecdotes or something that stands out that makes it kind of fun to follow this guy.
Oh, my goodness.
Come on, Stan, let's go.
This year's team, well, I think I'd have to go back to Burley. This is a guy that I've been talking to a lot of folks about, and you see his hitting, obviously. I mean, he's got the elite bat-to-ball skills, but what you don't often see is him going up in the dugout and giving Turner Ward a big kiss, a big smooch in the dugout, or him yelling at Turner Ward, asking him, Turner Ward, the batting coach, blaming Turner Ward for him not being able to hit. Burley's got a lot of personality, and he, from what Turner says, he kind of shows that during the game. It's all in good fun, and his attitude, Burley's personality has kind of led him to have the success he's had this year.
Hey, Stan, earlier this season, Paul Goldschmidt texted Adam Wainwright and said, we're going to win this division. Do you think the Cardinals are?
I think I think they're going to make a run at it. I really do. I know we've talked about were they going to get to 500? Were they going to get over to 5 over 500? Now we're looking, are they going to get to 10 over 500? And that's going to be a challenge. But no, I just think if they seem to be on the right track to me. And I think if we trend in this direction, that there's definitely going to be a run at the Brewers in September.
And just your personal opinion, what do you think, if you're with the Cardinals and Mozeliak and what he's looking at, what would you add at the trade deadline? Because a lot of people are talking about a right-handed bat, maybe a starting arm, bullpen. If there's one of those that you could choose, which would you pick?
This is me speaking as a Cardinals fan, not as a Cardinals employee. There's no speculation here, but I would love for this team to go out and get Max Scherzer for the second half of the season. I just think that would, juice up the fan base, if nothing else. And we know how competitive Max is, and if he's healthy, it'd be fun to see him pitching with the birds on the bat.
Stan, how can people get a hold of the new Cardinal Yearbook for 2024?
Way is to go to the ballpark and buy one, but if you can't do that, you can go online to cardinals.com/publications or /magazine and get it there. Or you can call 314-345-9000.
And Stan, you worked for the Sporting News when the Sporting News was at the top of its game here as a St. Louis-based publication, and you were in maybe the greatest era of sports magazines. How much pride do you take in being able to maintain that legacy of great quality? And I'm talking here from my perspective because I grew up. One of the reasons I know about sports so much is because I was reading those magazines as a youngster. So with Cardinal Magazine, how much pride do you take in being able to maintain what you did 20, 30 years ago?
It's a lot of pride, really. I mean, we're old school and we're kind of proud of it. We're print, like you say, it's high glossy, high quality reproduction. And not only, is the quality there, but the other thing that you don't often find anymore is the high-end editing, which, we have high-end editors. We are, just all the little details we pay close attention to. And that's one thing that as fast as the world moves today online and everything, that I don't think you see like you see in a printed product like Cardinals Magazine and Cardinals Yearbook.
I thoroughly enjoy it. Can't wait to see the yearbook. Thank you so much for the time, Stan. Best of luck, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you. That's Stan McNeal, Cardinal Magazine, with us on 101 ESPN. Go to cardinals.com/publications, or like he said, you can buy it at the ballpark or call the Cardinals, and it really is. Brooke, do you remember that? Do you remember a plethora? I guess you Sports Illustrated. But
oh, yeah.
You didn't grow up in a time where there were a lot of different sports magazines.
I guess so. But yeah, I definitely had a lot of Sports Illustrated magazines.
Yeah, and that's what this is. This is the quality, the paper, the pictures are similar to what I grew up with SI.
I would go back and look at the box scores in the sporting
Those are
news.
the best.
They had a bunch of those. I miss the old box score. You can sit there and go online and see it, but I liked it in the paper, or when you first woke up, you'd go look through it. I used to keep a log of that when I was a kid.
Hey, I was
a weirdo.
Yep, I used to go.
There's nothing weird about that.
Yeah, no, I used to go. There was a World News at Westport. There was one in Clayton, and they had all of the big city Sunday papers. And I would go in, and especially the Boston Globe, best sports page in the world.
Peter Gammons with his Sunday notebook,
and Will McDonough on football, and it was just fantastic. But I would go and get like 5 different Sunday papers and read the sports section of them all every week, and it was just great. And like he mentions, storytelling, editing, it just doesn't exist now, but it does with Cardinal Magazine.
Yeah, I wonder if people even really care much about them anymore.
No. I mean,
I'm talking about the younger generation.
No, they don't. Sports Illustrated isn't a thing. I don't know what magazine is
Sports
out
Illustrated.
There.
Yeah.
I read Time.
Okay.
I read Time magazine.
Okay.
So I still do that. I read Golf Digest.
I get Golf Digest. I can't say that I read it.
Really?
Yeah. I'm always on the
tips
internet.
in there and stuff like that.
It's great. I've got a stack of them that I need to read.
Yeah.
So when I'm on an airplane, I do.
Okay.
So there we go. Coming up next year on 101 ESPN, it's time for Take It or Leave It. You can text in to the Air Comfort Service text line. That
Yo-ho.
Number. Oh, he's ahead of the game.
Early yo-ho.
314-399-9646. 314-399. Yo-ho. Tioli next on 101 ESPN.
St. Louis Kitchen and Bath. Quality you can afford. Get your free quartz countertop at stlouiskb.com.
Hey, I want you to know about Lindenwood University. You know, I graduated from Lindenwood 40 years ago. Isn't that ridiculous? I was a 1984 grad of Lindenwood. Lindenwood was founded in 1832. Now, I wasn't in that first graduating class, which is good, but I know how good Lindenwood is because I went there and I've seen the growth of Lindenwood over the years. And the campus now is unbelievable. And if you are interested in college or interested in your kid going to college, you should learn about Lindenwood University. You can learn more at lindenwood.edu, but they award over $30 million in scholarships and grants annually. It's one of the most affordable private universities in the region. They have over 50 student clubs and organizations, small class sizes, a 15-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio, and most important, they have a ton of great majors that you or your youngster will be interested in. Traditional and online programs for every stage of your academic journey. But if you want to get a great education that interests you and is compelling to you and is affordable, it's all about Lindenwood University. I went there. Dan went there. Hope that you will consider it. Learn more at lindenwood.edu.
Open up your 101 mobile app for your chance to win free tickets to see Sammy Hagar, bringing the best of all world summer tour to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater on August 31st. Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Sammy Hagar will be joined by Michael Anthony, Joe Satriani, and Jason Bonham for a huge show this August at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, including special guests Loverboy. Get all the ticket details and get entered to win those free tickets for the show right now, either at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app.
Take it or leave it.
Want to say something? Want to put it out there? If you like it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your take it or leave it.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
All right, time for Tioli, Brooke, Dan, Matthew, and Randy. Guys, we're watching Tiger Woods practice for the Open. I'm still going to call it the British Open. But he's getting ready to play in the Open starting Thursday at Royal Troon in Scotland. Take it or leave it, Tiger plays 4 rounds this weekend.
Ooh. I will leave it.
Hate to say it, I'm going to leave it too.
I'm going to leave it too.
I don't want it to happen, but yeah.
I would think that the weather there will affect him, right? It's got to affect that lower leg.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I can think of, links course, is it can be flat. So that would help him, not the undulation that you normally see with some of the courses in the United States. I think it comes down to that. Is the course flat enough for him to walk? And if he can walk it and not have extreme pain, because it's tough to watch right now. Colin Montgomery came out and said that he thinks, yesterday he said, I think he should retire. And Tiger, rebuffed that and said, I have exemptions until I'm 60. That's what makes it interesting. If he would ever go on the Champions Tour, which is the senior tour, you can use a cart. And what he would do with a cart, he would demolish the senior tour. But I don't know if he ever wants to do that just because he's so competitive still on the regular tour. He could do both if he wanted to.
Yeah. I know that when our friend Nick Ragone was in charge of the Ascension Charity Classic, he talked to Tiger, and Tiger said, have a cart ready for me.
Yeah.
When he
loves
50.
St. Louis.
Yeah.
That was part of the deal about coming back to St. Louis with the Ascension, and loved his time at Belle Reve and has had success here. So, yeah, that would be interesting to watch.
I'll never forget what he said about St. Louis, the PGA Championship, and the fan support. That was just such a magical weekend over at Belle Reve. It was so much fun.
And especially, he noticed it. I did not. He said, you've got all these people in Cardinal gear on Sunday, and it was like they were rooting for me with the Sunday red.
Yeah.
That's a good point. All right, take it or leave it. We were talking about the Home Run Derby earlier. Obviously, there was not a Cardinal who participated, but take it or leave it, in the next 5 years, within the next 5 years, there will be a Cardinal participating in the Home Run Derby.
Oh, I like this. This is a great question.
I'm going to take that, and it'll be Nolan Gorman.
Wow.
Yep.
And you gave me the bold prediction with it, too.
Nolan Gorman would be my guy. He'll maybe have a first half where he puts it together and hits 20, 25 home runs, and all of a sudden he's an all-star and finds himself in the all-star home run derby.
I am going to take it, but not with Gorman.
Jordan Walker.
I will be surprised if Nolan Gorman ever makes an all-star team.
Really?
Yeah. But although the game has changed so much, but I don't even know if he'll be able to get that to that 820, 830 OPS, the way things are going.
Yeah, he's just not disciplined right now.
And it's amazing. I wonder how much these hitters talk to each other, because you see Wynn cut down on his swing. You see Burleson cut down on his swing. You see Donovan cut down on his swing to put the ball in play. You never see Gorman cut down on his swing.
No.
And I wonder if he talks to the other guys and says, hey, why do you do that? Or if they ever go to him and say, you know what, if you cut down that strikeout with the bases loaded and nobody out on Saturday against the Cubs in the first inning drove me crazy, because all you had to do was put the ball in play and the Cubs were going to throw it around, and he strikes out. Drove me crazy.
Are you ready for my take it or leave it?
Yeah, I'm going to try to think. I'm going to take Chase Davis as a guy in the next 5 years to be in the home run derby.
It'd be a good one.
Oh, okay.
These are interesting numbers that I dug up. So Alec Burleson's ranks among all players age 25 or under that have enough plate appearances, so 25 or under, which includes him. He's 4th in home runs. He's 5th in runs batted in. He has the lowest strikeout percentage, and his average is 4th best among players 25 and under. So not too bad when you talk about Alec Burleson. The question would be, take it or leave it. Alec Burleson can keep this up in the second half. I'm going to say there's going to be a little regression.
A little regression, but I will take it in the sense that he will still be important in the second half.
Yeah, I think that he's got 17 home runs, right? Mm-hmm. I think he can very easily be a 25 home run guy. I think, 25 and 80. And OPS, what's his OPS right now? Do you have that?
I don't have it in front of me.
Let me check it here. I would think that he'll be able to maintain this OPS because his bat to ball is so good.
The only reason I bring it up is that he's kind of a guy, to me at least, that was flying under the radar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And not anymore. So if you were the opposition, you'd come in and say, now they're all major leaguers. You're trying to get everybody out. But you would put a special emphasis, in my opinion, on Goldschmidt and Arenado. Mm-hmm. And they are not, right now, Arenado and Goldschmidt that we've normally seen. So now this guy, Burleson, has ascended, and I would imagine he ascends in your lineup here in the second half. And there's more emphasis put on him to where you really, if you're that opposing pitcher, you got to bear down on this guy. You got to get him out.
Yeah, because of that bat to ball, right?
Exactly.
It's hard.
814 OPS, by the way.
I'm going to say that he's able to maintain that.
Okay.
By the way,
they need him to.
Yeah. Did you have any other? Who were the other 25 and under guys? Was there anybody else that across the board that you saw? Like Julio Rodriguez doesn't. He's not in that group.
He's
right
not even in that group, Randy. So the home runs, he only trails Henderson, Soto, and Morel. Mm-hmm. The runs batted in, Soto, Witt, Henderson, Guerrero. Mentioned that he was number one in strikeout percentage, lowest strikeout percentage, and only trails Witt and Soto in average.
Can you believe Juan Soto's only 25?
He's been around for 15 years, it seems like.
That's crazy. Great stuff. Matthew, what do you got on the text line?
Take it or leave it. Everyone should get time and a half for getting out of bed and going to work on a day like today.
Totally take it. 100%.
Take it.
Yep.
I'm more concerned about my golf game than thinking about somebody that's in bed right now.
I am too. Yeah.
That was the first thing you said. It's like, okay, can I golf today? I'm going to golf today.
Yeah.
I want to play golf. And with this rain, it's going to be hot. It's going to be muggy. I'm still going to get out there one way or another.
Good.
Mushy. Yeah, nasty. That means I'm going to chunk a bunch of balls and get mad.
Do you have rain gear? I have rain gear for golf.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll go out and play and stuff like this if it's warm enough.
If Jay Delsing is listening, we are going to play today. You can't get out of
it. Jay's probably in bed like, no.
Yeah, he's one of those guys.
Yeah, he's like, no. Do you see what it looks like outside?
Looks terrible outside.
It's dark, too.
Take it or leave it. Gorman is a modern-day Ugla.
Ooh, interesting.
Dan Ugla.
Mm-hmm.
Former
Marlin.
All-star.
Brave. All-star. Hit from the right side. I think all or nothing kind of guy.
Danny Ugla.
You have 3 errors in an All-Star game?
He did.
Yeah.
Don't have to do that.
I think it was 3.
Jeez.
But it was multiple errors.
Oof, it was bad.
Yeah. I think I'm sure that we can find a left-handed hitter that's a better comp. Like a lefty hitter like Gorman.
I mean, I always just equate it to Kyle Schwarber. He's the easy one to come up with.
Yeah, that's a great call.
Yeah.
But Dan Ugla never led the league in strikeouts. It's kind of surprising. His career high was 171. I think.
God bless Adam Dunn and Chris Davis.
Yeah.
Adam Dunn would be a good one.
I'm guessing those guys were who was beating him out.
Adam Dunn was taking walks, though.
It's true.
Adam Dunn could not hit a sac fly.
Nope.
No.
It was the weirdest thing ever is that it's either over the wall or it was a strikeout. It was never, ever in the middle. And he finally got a sac fly against the Cardinals, and everybody gave him a standing O.
Okay, how about this? How about at Nolan Gorman's height, he's Mike Moustakas?
That's a good one. Yeah. Mike Moustakas was part of the home run derby. Yep. There was hardly any Royals that were... I looked this up yesterday, too. It was because I was wondering, like, Bobby Witt is in the home run derby, and then I guessed Mike Moustakas got that right, and then I had no idea Danny Tartable was the other Kansas City Royal that I don't even remember that one.
I love Danny Tartable. He was great.
Joey Gallo maybe in this conversation with Nolan Gorman. Yeah, makes sense.
Take it or leave it. When it comes to the sausage, cheese, cracker combination, the cracker is the most important part.
Oh, very interesting. Like the Ritz cracker.
I disagree so much right now.
It's got to be the cheese.
God, I could do a whole hill on this one. My God, what a take.
Oh, you were fired up.
The top of the hill.
What a terrible take.
Yep.
Well, then maybe
what's the important part then?
Swiss cheese is awful.
The cheese is 100% the most important part of the sausage cracker cheese.
You are.
Is it cheddar
100%.
cheese? Which cheese are you going with? Because that's also very important here.
I mean, I love a give me a
Gouda.
Give me a Gouda.
Cheddar.
Give me a pepper.
Gouda.
Give me a pepper jack.
No Swiss. You know what though? If you give me a real crunchy, hard cracker, I don't want it. I want like more of a Ritz cracker
where it
texture.
just crumbles as you
I don't want a crunchy
hold on
cracker.
to it.
You guys like venison?
I want a butter cracker.
I can handle it.
Yeah, little sliced venison
fine.
on there.
Randy, do you mind a
You
butter
don't like
cracker?
that?
Buttercracker's perfect.
It's okay. You can tell me you don't like it. You don't like it.
Buttercracker with
I
like
don't
a little mini salami and cheddar.
Oh, perfect.
I see you're
perfect.
Yeah, see that's not. Can we get a charcuterie board in here right now, man?
We
I'm
should do
jonesing
that. Yeah,
now.
that's a good idea.
Charcuterie boards.
So, thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Randy.
So there's Take It or Leave It on 101 ESPN, ending with cheese and crackers. We need to start a little Finer Things Club in here.
Yes. I remember my grandfather, he would have that as his snack every single day was cheese and crackers. And it was always cheddar and it was Ritz. Or sometimes just the regular saltine crackers.
The Ritz is like an underrated utility. Everybody needs the Ritz cracker. Right?
Yes.
At some point, you're like, you need it.
I like putting what's the cheese in the little bottle and you spray it on
Cheese Whiz.
Cheese Whiz.
Hey, boy, you got my Cheese Whiz?
Cheese Whiz on a Ritz.
One of the great scenes from Blues Brothers.
That's what that
I haven't had
was.
Cheese Whiz in a long time.
Stuff was really good. I can't even find it. I'm sure it's still in grocery stores, but I haven't seen it.
They probably found a reason to ban it because there has to be something bad.
Probably
in there
right.
for
Just
you.
spray it down your gullet. It's great. Coming up next, the Cardinals are at the All-Star break. Who have their superlatives been? That's next on 101 ESPN.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here. Is credit card debt creating a lot of stress in your life? You should go and call my friends over at Golden Oak Lending. They can help with Smart Cash, which is low interest money. They shared a story with me recently about how they were able to help with Smart Cash. Amy just had her fourth child and they needed to finish the basement in their house. She and her husband put most of it on their credit card to about $20,000, but they were still paying double-digit credit card interest. They did their best paying $900 every single month, but it was just really getting overwhelming. Her dad suggested that she call Golden Oak Lending to see if her home had increased in value. That way she could use the extra equity to pay off the credit cards. Sure enough, even though they had refinanced before, their home had increased in value. Golden Oak Lending got them their $20,000 in cash. She paid off their credit cards, and Amy is thrilled to not have that monthly payment just hanging over her head. Many people just like Amy don't realize how easy it is to use their home's equity to get Smart Cash. If you need cash, go call my friends over at Golden Oak Lending. It's easy. They do all the work for you, and it won't cost a penny out of pocket. Give them a call today at 314-567-GOLD now to get started, or go to goldenoaklending.com and see the reviews for yourself.
Hey, if you want to connect better with your customers, you need to do it through social media these days. And a great way to get in touch with new customers is with 2060 Digital. It's a sister company of 101 ESPN, backed by a 100-year-old media empire in Hubbard. And just like 101 ESPN, if you're a business owner or marketer seeking more strategic ways to reach an audience, look no further than 2060 Digital. What they're going to do is make you an expert in the way you handle your social media, how you post, when you post, what pictures you post. There is a science to that, and 2060 Digital can unlock the keys to the lock to social media for you. They'll also improve your website, and with algorithms, they can make it so that when somebody searches for your category, your company winds up on the front page. 2060 Digital does great work for hundreds of St. Louis companies, and they can do great work for you. If you think your business has room to grow, let 2060 prove it to you. Visit 101ESPN.com/2060 Digital today to request a complimentary digital audit.
Fresh perspective on today's top stories. This is Fresh Take.
Presented by Lindenwood University. Real experience, real success.
Cardinals All-Star Break Award winners. We're going to run down the entire list here at 8:07 Time Check. Brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Guys, my Cardinals MVP for the first 96 games is Ryan Helsley. I think the Cardinals could get by and succeed without Mason Wynn. Obviously, they have done so without their starting outfield. All due respect to what the Cardinals have in Alec Burleson, but I think the Cardinals could succeed on a smaller level with him. You'd like to say Contreras, but they were 8 games over 500 when Contreras was out. I don't think the Cardinals would be where they are if they didn't have Ryan Helsley ending games for them and getting the 27th out. I don't think there's another guy down there that would be able to do that. So in terms of valuable, I'm going to go with Ryan Helsley.
Oh, 100%. If you could make the entire bullpen the MVP of the first half of the season, because they were really able to hold this team together. Yeah. Are we doing the bullpen?
Stealing my stuff, Brooke.
I'm in
kidding.
Your mind.
You are in my mind.
In your mind, Dan.
So your
Dan
MVP.
wants venison right now.
No, I do. Now I'm hungry. Want cheese, crackers, and venison. So who's your MVP, Brooke?
I was going to go with the bullpen, the entire bullpen.
I better duck or not check the text line when I say this. I had the MVP as Ali Marmol.
He's had a good first half. He really has.
Not sure he could handle the bullpen any better than he has done that. They've cleaned up their defense, their base running, small ball. He has, at times, moved established veterans down in the lineup. More chances for win. Donovan and Burleson. That has paid off. And he dealt with Walker's demotion, Gorman's regression, in a way, the injuries that they've had. So I'll go with the Cardinal managers being the MVP. I think he's done a hell of a job in the first half of the season.
That's really true, because if you look at especially that start going off 15 and 24, you would think that the group would be really rattled, but we had Kyle Gibson on. If you go and talk to the guys in the clubhouse, and even Olin Ramal in his comments, they still kept that belief in the team, and it paid off. He was able to really hold things together.
Top starter, I'm going to go with one of the guys that's been there all year. Kyle Gibson, 7-3 with a 4.16. Last year he had a 4.93 earned run average, so he's improved a little bit there. He's giving the Cardinals starts. He's going to the post. He started 18 games. He obviously has his moments where he's not great. There's a reason that he wasn't signed to a $43 million a year contract like Max Scherzer was when he signed at the same age. But I'm going to go with Kyle Gibson as the guy that's been the bell cow for the Cardinal rotation so far.
I think we might all have put Kyle Gibson down, because when we were discussing it earlier.
Too.
Yeah, we all put Kyle Gibson down. I think it's also, too, his ability just to stay in games and be willing to do so. I think that that's so important for the starting rotation, especially when we talk about the wear and tear that the bullpen. I mean, the bullpen, as I have them, were the MVP of the first half of the season, and they really, really were used a lot. And guys like Kyle Gibson are true innings eaters, and they'll stay in the game and really give some relief to the bullpen.
Hit the nail on the head there is the innings, and I think he's given this team innings. He's on pace for about 175 to 200, and if you would have gotten that at the beginning of the season with Kyle Gibson with an ERA just above 4, you'd have said, boy, I'll take that. And so Kyle Gibson is my guy too.
Top reliever, Helsley is the obvious choice, and that's who I have, but I don't want to dismiss the value, and he really has been, after Helsley, their best guy. It's Ryan Fernandez. He's been fantastic. And there are so many, not so many, but there are guys flying under the radar here. A guy like John King has had a sneaky good year. There have been some really good performances down there. You guys used the entire bullpen as your MVPs, and I get that, because there are some guys that are having really quiet, really good years, and Fernandez and King are two of them.
Yeah, I have give me Hell's Bells as the top reliever, because, of course, I mean, he leads the National League with 32 saves. He has been such an important part, as you mentioned earlier, Randy, as the MVP, and I agree with you, because the last time we did this, I said that as well, that he is the MVP of this team, because he has been a huge part of their success in the first half.
Interesting numbers with the bullpen. The Cardinals have lost only 2 games when leading through 7 innings. I did not realize that in doing some research for this segment. So they've lost only 2 games when leading through 7. They are 44-0 when leading through 8. So that tells you the importance of this bullpen. Helsley, the 32 saves. The Cardinals bullpen, all told in Major League Baseball, they lead in saves and holds. How can you not look at the back end of that bullpen and say they've been magnificent? They have been.
Well, and think about the amount of one-run games that they have been in,
exactly.
To your point. Yeah. The amount of one-run games, close games, even 3-run, and how the bullpen has been able to really hold things together.
Biggest surprise, this is Secretariat in the Belmont for me with Alec Burleson. It's 31 lengths, and Palante is second for me.
I like that one a lot. Alec Burleson has just been so much fun to watch, too. Hasn't he?
He's been great. He plays with joy, and he's got unusual 2024 skills. There's not many people that get their bat on the ball as consistently as Alec Burleson does.
For my biggest surprise, I'm going with Michael Ciani. Who in the world thought that Michael Ciani was even going to be a part of the outfield conversation going into the season? He wasn't. I mean, he was not even a part of this conversation. For him to really emerge, especially with the amount of injuries that they dealt with in the outfield, he really just solidified his spot as their top center fielder. And even with guys coming back, I feel like you can't move him because of his stellar defense.
My biggest surprise, I went with 2, Michael Ciani being 1. He's second in the majors in runs saved among center fielders, so his defense has really calmed that thing down. And with all the injuries, you didn't know who would emerge. I went with Mason Wynn as well. He leads the major leagues in shortstops in terms of defensive runs saved. I thought he'd be fine. I didn't know he'd be this good, and he's been really good. The Cardinals as a whole, last season, The defensive efficiency rating was the worst since 1930. 1930. And the Cardinals have improved by 22%. So massive turnaround when you think about how they're playing defense. And I think a big reason why is Mason Wynn and Michael Ciani.
Biggest Cardinal disappointment. You might think this is obvious, but I'm going to go with a guy who has 162 game averages of an 861 OPS, 33 homers, and 110 RBIs. Nolan Arenado only has a 704 OPS. His career OPS is 861. He's on pace for 15 home runs. His 162 game average is 33. He's on pace for about 70 RBIs. His 162 game average is 110. And I really thought that he would bounce back this year, and I am very disappointed in the performance so far of Nolan Arenado. I know that you guys might have other disappointments, but I thought I would go with him.
With Nolan, do you think he'll be able to, with the rest, really turn things back up in the second half of the season?
You know, I asked Ollie if he's healthy, and he said, yeah, he's healthy. I don't know. I'm glad he is healthy. Hopefully he'll be able to figure out what is ailing his offense.
My biggest disappointment is Tommy Edman not showing up for the first half of the season, because we talked about it a lot. When would he show up? It felt like there was times we were getting closer to it, and then all of a sudden there would be an update. There would be some sort of setback, and it didn't happen. So Tommy Edman not showing up, that was a big part. He was supposed to be a big part of this outfield going into the season.
Good one.
Jordan Walker. I think that's the obvious one. And you guys went on the outside look. I think we'd all agree the biggest is Jordan Walker, because you're counting on him to be a middle of the lineup type bat, play right field every day, surge, improve upon last year, and it hasn't happened. That is a big miss for this lineup, trying to replace him, because you were counting on him.
Yeah.
I got to go back to Arenado. I just got to wonder, and I know Ollie said he's healthy, and I think he's got to say that to cover up for his player. But I got to wonder if something's not right with him. If you read the comments of Arenado here recently, he said, well, I'm trying to get a little bit, I'm paraphrasing, but I'm trying to get a little bit healthier, and something's not quite right with his, I can't remember what he was saying, but it was something along the lines of his health. I just got to wonder if something's not right, because I just can't see that much of a regression for a guy that is one of the preeminent players in this league. I just don't see it.
And theoretically should still be very close to his prime at the age of 33.
Yeah.
And that's why, even though he's my biggest disappointment of the first half, I have Nolan Arenado as my second half MVP.
Oh, I was trying to get that out of you earlier, if he was going to be your second half MVP. So I see what you did there. For me, I think it's going to be, I would say maybe you could say the safe bet here would be Alec Burleson, because of what he did in the first half. But I'm actually going to go with Brendan Donovan, because I believe that Brendan Donovan has what it takes to be just really a clutch guy. I can see him having some big moments in the second half of the season, especially with this tough schedule that they have. I feel like Brendan Donovan will be a key part, and he's just the super utility that you need for this team. And he provides a lot at the plate, too.
My second half MVP is Sonny Gray, and they need him in the biggest way, because this is not trending well. If you're paying hard attention in the month of July, which we talked about earlier, the pitching staff has a 6.13 rotation ERA in July. Gray himself over 6 in his last 3 starts. This team's going to go anywhere. They need a bona fide, some type of whatever the Cardinals have, but he would be their number one in my mind, and he's got to have a really good second half. They are 21st in ERA, 10th in walk rate right now, 17th in strikeout rate. They need Sonny Gray to be the Sonny Gray that they anticipated when they signed him. So he would be my second half MVP.
He went 9 consecutive starts, Sonny Gray did, without getting to 90 pitches. And then he threw 92, 88, and 102 in his last start. I agree with you 100% in that he should be and needs to be really good for the Cardinals in the second half. But the Cardinals, and I thought this, and it was verified for me by talking to a couple of people last week, they are definitely preserving him for August and September. His September numbers are not good. And the Cardinals know that. They've got access to Baseball Reference too. And so what they're doing is they're keeping his pitch count and innings lower so that when they need him the most, he can be big time in September.
You need him. And you really do need him, because any sort of injury, knock on wood, of course, to the starting rotation, but especially to Sonny Gray, really would hurt this team, obviously.
And, people don't like to hear this. I don't think some do. Maybe some don't, but when you're paying these guys what you're paying them, they're supposed to be your best players. Arenado, Goldie, Sonny Gray. You're paying them a lot of money, and if this team's going to go anywhere, those three need to be back to where they were, and I think Gray can get that way. And I'm with you, Randy. I bet they start stretching him out a little bit more because this once you get through the All-Star break, it's a sprint to the finish. And so you need to have these guys step up and be the type of players that you anticipate them to be prior to the beginning of this season.
And I've given these numbers before, but I'll give them again if you haven't heard them. Sonny Gray's career September and October numbers, 13 wins, 20 losses with a 4.16 earned run average. Far and away the worst month of his career during his career.
Got to save them. Got to save some of these bullets for the end of the season, and I think that they will.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm surprised that nobody else's biggest disappointment might have been Paul Goldschmidt in this situation, because the regression we talk about Nolan Arenado, you also have to talk about Paul Goldschmidt in this conversation.
I think we just had so many choices. Edmund for you, Walker for you, Arenado for me. Goldie was right there in the mix for me. Was he for everybody?
Yes.
Not for me, just because we saw this in the second half of last year, and maybe I'm just becoming used to it, which is not the way I wanted to look at Goldie. But there is a precipitous decline right now in what's happening with him, and this is now a full year. This is the second half of last year. It's a full first half of this year, so that's why it didn't come to mind, but probably should have.
He's hitting .230 with a 664 OPS. Yikes. All right, there you have it. Those are our Cardinal Award winners at the All-Star break. Coming up, the All-Star game is tonight. We're going to give you our favorite All-Star stories or moments coming up next on 101 ESPN. All right, here's what I want you to do. I want you to head sometime this week to the Fenton Bar and Grill for lunch or happy hour or dinner, and you talk about some tantalizing food. The trashed wings at Fenton Bar and Grill are the best that you'll ever have. They are absolutely breathtaking. They are a party on your tongue when you have the trashed wings at Fenton Bar and Grill. They're absolutely delicious. Try them with one of two things, either their signature award-winning golden sauce or their ranch, and it is astonishing how great it is. And it's not just the trashed wings at the Fenton Bar and Grill. All of their food is absolutely miraculous. Whether you have one of their delicious wraps, their chicken Caesar wrap is fantastic. They have some of the best burgers in town. And when you get a side, I don't know why, but the tater tots at Fenton Bar and Grill are so well seasoned, so well prepared that you will find them absolutely delicious. And you love the service at Fenton Bar and Grill. Stop by and say hi to Kelly and Megan and Casey. The whole crew over there is so much fun, and it's a sports place. It's easy to get to, just a couple of minutes away from the soccer park on Rudder Road in Fenton. Tell them Randy sent you when you get to the Fenton Bar and Grill. We have the All-Star Game tonight here on 101 ESPN, 6 o'clock pregame. And, guys, we all, as we grew up, watched the baseball All-Star Game and have our favorite memories. Mine is so vivid. And it was just the whole week. Bob Gibson got me tickets for the 1989 game in Anaheim. And everybody was wondering why the hell Tony La Russa was leading Bo Jackson off. And I'm sitting in the right field stands, and Bo Jackson does lead off and hits a home run basically to center field. It was just to the right of center field.
Absolute
it was
bomb.
A bomb off of Rick Russell. And I found out later, I didn't even realize, but Ronald Reagan was president of the United States. He was doing play-by-play with Vin Scully. He was in the booth with Vin Scully. And it was the essence of Bo Jackson's power and prodigiousness. He was unbelievable, and I don't even know what the outcome of the game was. But I've got it right up here on Baseball Reference right now. But I do know, I remember seeing Bo Jackson hit that incredible home run.
And Bo says hello.
Yeah. And the lineup, I was just going over this with Danny. So the lineup was Bo Jackson leading off in left. Wade Boggs was hitting second. He was playing third. Kirby Puckett, another Hall of Famer. So there's should have been Hall of Famer. Harold Baines, Hall of Famer, hit fourth. Julio Franco, who played for like 50 years, was at second base. Ripken, Hall of Famer, hit sixth. Ruben Sierra, really good player, hit seventh. Mark McGuire would have been in the Hall of Fame, hitting eighth. Terry Steinbach, the A's catcher, hitting ninth, and then Dave Stewart was on the mound. The National League team, by the way, had Ozzie Smith leading off in '89. It was Smith, Tony Gwynn, and Will Clark, Kevin Mitchell, Eric Davis, and Hojo. Pedro Guerrero was the DH hitting seventh. Ryan Sandberg, Hall of Famer, hitting eighth, and Benito Santiago was the starting catcher for the National League in that game.
I think that personally, that is my laptop. Usually that happens to you, Randy, and not me. What is going on with me this morning? But anyways, I think personally the most recent one, Albert Pujols, of course, when he went to the All-Star game, that was just so cool to see. Don't you remember a lot of people were talking about, why is he even going? He's not performing that well. He goes there, and it felt like it really recharged him to be around all those players, all the talent. Remember him and Juan Soto hanging out, and people were thinking at that moment, hey, maybe Soto could come to the Cardinals. That was a possibility at that point, at least in our minds, it was. But then after that, the second half of the season, Albert Pujols, the incredible run that he went on, that's unforgettable. But I also want to give you guys another one. What about one where Mark McGuire said that this pregame ceremony for this All-Star game was one of his favorite moments on a baseball field? 1999.
Yep.
Exactly.
Boston,
with Ted Williams, you had Stan Musial there. It was that all-century team. Do you guys remember that game?
Oh, yeah. I talked to Larry Walker about it. He was an all-star there. He actually took a chunk of Fenway Park, like the grass, and tried to keep it alive in his refrigerator. That's what he told me. He said it was the most unbelievable pregame that they had ever seen or ever been a part of, and all the players. It was an impromptu move by the players. They weren't supposed to do this or weren't going to do this, but surrounded Ted Williams as he threw out the first pitch. And he asked McGuire, do you smell burnt wood when you foul a ball off? And he said, yes, I do. I thought that was the best. That was also the all-century team that was introduced. There were 31 players, I believe, from the all-century team that were there in attendance. And that was also Pedro Martinez made that start. And it was just electric at Fenway Park. So I think that's probably one of my favorites, too.
Were they also concerned with how Ted Williams would be? Because, of course, you know, Ted was known for being a little prickly towards the end there and with Boston fans. But what was that like, do you think, with Ted Williams and just seeing him come out in that moment?
He actually tipped his cap to the fans, which is something that he had a contentious relationship with not only the media, but the fans of Boston, too. And not that they really had to twist his arm to do this, but they had to convince him to come back and be a part of this. And I thought that was one of the great moments we've seen in baseball history.
Absolutely.
I went with the Cal Ripken final All-Star game in 2001. Actually, I had three that I went with. A-Rod moved him to shortstop, and he hit a home run, I think, in the third inning of that game. I thought Torrey Hunter's catch to rob Barry Bonds of a home run in 2002 was pretty cool. That was also the All-Star game that ended in a tie, and so it changed the at least immediate future of the All-Star game, that this one counts, which no one cared if it did. And then Dave Parker's throw from right field after making a mistake earlier in the game, but he throws out Brian Downing. And then I also had Bo Jackson in his home run in 1989. That was just incredible. So those are some of the great moments I thought of.
I'm I'm a nerd, Danny. You would have liked this one too. 1987 scoreless game to the 13th inning, and the National League scores 2 in the top of the 13th.
Yeah.
Just a great pitcher's duel. And then 93 at Camden Yards, another one I was at, and that was the one with Randy Johnson and John Kruk.
Oh, yeah. When he turns around his helmet and says, I want no piece of this.
Yeah.
And the ball went
So
over his
cool.
head that first time.
It was great.
Yeah.
What
Good
about
stuff.
2009 with what it was like with the All-Star game here?
It was fun, and that was Albert's show. That was Albert bringing everybody into his house, and he really embraced it, and it was great. It was a lot of fun.
Also, Stan was brought out in front of everybody. I think Obama was in
Throughout
town.
the first pitch, yep.
Throughout President Obama was here to throw out the first pitch. So, yeah, there was a lot with that. That was cool.
Yeah, it was fun. So the All-Star game tonight here on 101 ESPN from Texas, and of course you can hear it starting at 6 o'clock. Coming up, we've got the fight, and let's see. We have a fighter coming back, don't we? Yeah, yesterday. I was bad at math, so I lost the fight. But I will try to be better at math today, and we'll have a fight for you coming up next on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you are not feeling great today, guys, if you are feeling lethargic, if you are out of sorts, and you have been for a while, might be an issue with low testosterone. If you are fatigued all the time, maybe you're just not very motivated, maybe you're moody and irritable, it could be an issue with low T, and that's why you need to know about Mentality at lowtusa.com. At Mentality, they're going to get your testosterone level back to where it was when you were younger. You get weekly treatments, and they have an FDA-approved testosterone treatment that will allow you to restore your testosterone level to the high level of normal, and that'll give you more energy. And if you are feeling anxious, it'll reduce that. If you are feeling low motivation, it'll enhance your motivation. And the impatience and anxiety that you're dealing with, it'll go by the boards when you deal with Mentality, a great local clinic with great local physicians, and you can trust them. Thousands of St. Louis guys have already used it. They're going to work with your insurance company to make sure that you have low out-of-pocket expenses, if any out-of-pocket expenses at all, and it'll provide you with a different feeling and a different you. It's Mentality in Chesterfield and South County. Make your appointment today at lowtusa.com.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Last night in the Home Run Derby, the first ever Dodger to walk away as champion of the competition was Teoscar Hernandez as he outlasts the Royals. Bobby Witt Jr. 14-13 in the final round. You can catch the All-Star game right here on 101 ESPN tonight. Coverage starts with a 6 p.m. pregame. Some other news around town yesterday. St. Louis City SC and media availability did break the news that Sam Adeniran was not training with the team and that they are talking with another team right now for a potential transfer when the window opens. That is your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome to the fight. In the red corner, Average Joe Listener. And in the blue corner, the undisputed king of morning drive. Please welcome Randy Carricker.
Welcome back to the opening drive. Brooke, Dan, and Rockio here, and it is time for the fight. We have a returning fighter today. It is Ryan. Ryan, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good. I'm feeling like a champion.
Oh, wow. Nice. So, Dan, you weren't here for it yesterday, but Ryan beat
Put on a
Randy.
show?
Oh, he did. And it came down to math.
Oh.
And Ryan outmathed Randy in that situation.
Ryan, did you just guess on the math? You really didn't have like a formula to put this thing together. You're just like, whatever, and it worked out?
I had to guess because I was driving at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You sound like you're in a solid place right now. So you're going to buckle down and get ready to make sure you take on Randy and be fully alert and be ready to take on Randy.
Well, it's getting serious now.
No, you bet it is. Round two.
Here we go. Are you ready for question number one, Ryan?
Yep.
All right. Following the first 6 years of his career in St. Louis, Terry Pendleton left in free agency before 1991 and went on to win NL's MVP award for that season while batting a career-high .319. Which team was he playing for? Was it the Phillies, the Pirates, or the Braves?
Let's go with the Braves.
Final answer?
I guess so.
Not very confident, but you should be. In the 1974 NFL draft, the Steelers famously drafted 4 Hall of Famers with their first 5 picks and then signed a future Hall of Famer. Which future Hall of Famer went undrafted that year? Was it Mike Webster, Donnie Shell, or John Stallworth?
Give the options one more time.
Mike Webster, Donnie Shell, and John Stallworth.
I'm going to guess Mike Webster.
Rock, wasn't, okay, that's the answer, but wasn't Lynn Swann one of those dudes?
Lynn Swann and Jack Lambert were two.
Yeah, that's the other one. Yep. Okay. Steel curtain.
Mm-hmm. Ready for question 3, Ryan?
Yep.
Who is the last American man to win Wimbledon? Was it Pete Sampras, Andre Agassi, or Andy Roddick?
Let's go with option number 2.
Andre Agassi?
Yep.
Question 4. There are 3 players in NFL history to tally 4 or more seasons with 2,000 yards from scrimmage. Eric Dickerson, Marshall Faulk, each did it across their Colts careers. Which Super Bowl winning running back is the other? Emmitt Smith, Walter Payton, or Edgerrin James?
I'm going to go with Emmitt Smith.
Final answer?
Yep.
All right, Ryan, how are you feeling?
You guys didn't have any baseball questions in there, so not great.
Oh, no. Well, there was one at the beginning, but yeah.
What?
Rockio is so offended right now. It happens.
Not any baseball questions that I knew.
Yeah. There you go. All right, here comes Randy.
That I'm less responsible for.
Randy, say hi to Ryan again.
Ryan, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Randy. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for listening. Thanks for playing. We do appreciate it.
Today, he's not in a vehicle.
Oh, okay, that's better.
There you go. But he was locked in, ready to go because he knew that this is very serious. This is round 2. So he's ready to go, Randy.
Okay,
Ready for
I'll
question
get locked
number
in.
1?
Okay, let me get locked in. Deep breath. Okay, I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Following the first 6 years of his career in St. Louis, Terry Pendleton left in free agency before 1991 and went on to win NL's MVP award for that season while batting a career-high .319. Which team did he play for?
He left and went to the Atlanta Braves and won the MVP. And so before the 1989 season, St. Louis talk radio had kind of been pretty mild. And I went on the air one night because it wasn't just Terry. It was Willie. It was Ken Daly. It was multiple players that were going to be free agents.
And frustration
this was
with
90.
Whitey.
This was 90.
Yeah.
And I went on the air. And so I would do the postgame open line, and Jack Buck would listen to me as he was driving home. And then after the show, I would call him or he would call me. And one night I said, what the Cardinals are doing to these players is absolutely criminal. This is ridiculous. And Gussie had died in 89, and August Busch III didn't like baseball, and the brewery kind of checked out on the team. And they were letting all these guys leave. Vince Coleman was another one. So it was Coleman, McGee, Pendleton, Daly. Those were the big ones. And so I said, this is just terrible what the Cardinals are doing to these players. And I knew, by the way, that Whitey had reached an agreement with Willie. 3 years, $8.7 million contract. Said, take this up to Maxie and we'll get it done. Willie takes it upstairs to Maxie. Maxie says, we aren't signing you. And so I found that out. And so I said what they were doing was terrible. And that kind of hadn't been said on St. Louis airwaves before, especially on KMOX. And so Jack calls and I said, what did you think? And he said, were you fair? And I said, I think I was. He said, I think you were too. Because he felt the same way. And so that validated my thought process that I could say critical things about the organization. Not mean, but critical things about the organization. And Terry Pendleton was my favorite player. You talk about a leader, man, and it was criminal that they let him get away.
There aren't many third basemen with their back to the infield in foul territory that I can think of that make that play over the shoulder as well as he did.
No, he was amazing at that play. He did it in the World Series.
In 1990, that's when Whitey had enough, too.
Yeah.
San Diego resigns.
Yeah, he resigned.
And said, that's it.
Yeah.
All right, question 2. In the 1974 NFL draft, the Steelers famously drafted 4 Hall of Famers with their first 5 picks.
Wow.
And signed then a future Hall of Famer. Which future Hall of Famer went undrafted that year?
Okay, so this was Lambert, Stallworth. Had a pretty good group. I'll do the lifeline here, Daniel.
Mike Webster, Donnie Shell, John Stallworth.
Stallworth was definitely drafted, and I believe Mike Webster was drafted. So I'm going to go with Donnie Shell being the free agent.
Is that your final answer?
Yes, sir.
Question 3, please.
Who is the last American man to win Wimbledon?
Last American man to win Wimbledon. I am going to go way back. I think I'm going to... I don't know if Andy Roddick won, but it's either Roddick or Sampras. I think I'm going to go with Andy Roddick. Doesn't he have a famous wife? Who's he married to?
I don't know, some influencer or something like that.
She was like a big-time Sports Illustrated model.
Brooklyn Decker.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was actually just looking up because I was wondering what he was doing now.
Okay. Andy Roddick is who I'm going with.
Okay.
And that was just totally a coin flip. It could have been Pete Sampras, too. So one or the other.
Are you ready for question 4?
I'm ready, Dan.
Randall, there are 3 players in NFL history to tally 4 or more seasons with over 2,000 yards from scrimmage. Eric Dickerson did it. Marshall Faulk each did it across their Colts careers. Which Super Bowl winning running back is the other?
4 seasons of 2,000 plus yards, and he won a Super Bowl.
That's right.
Well, the first guy ever to do 1,000 was Roger Craig, who should probably be in the Hall of Fame. he is,
Roger Craig isn't in the Hall of Fame?
Nope. Isn't that terrible?
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Terrell Davis didn't do it 4 times. LT never won a Super Bowl. Priest Holmes never won a Super Bowl. Walter Payton, I don't think... Well, he might have. I don't know. I don't think that he got to 2,000 yards that consistently. He was more of a 1,300-yard rusher, but I don't think he had 700 yards receiving. So I'm thinking this era, Super Bowl champ. Not Corey Dillon. Steven Jackson didn't win a Super Bowl. Just trying to think of the preeminent guys. Adrian Peterson didn't win a Super Bowl. I'm going to roll my dice on Roger Craig.
Okay, Matthew, do your thing, please.
We have a winner in today's fight. Does Ryan roll on to Wednesday with a chance at the Hall of Fame? Speaking of Hall of Famers. Or does Randy Carricker shut him down on this Tuesday? Ring that bell.
The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Carricker.
The fight is presented by Golf Discount of St. Louis. With the most experienced club fitters in town. Why shop anywhere else?
I'm sorry, Ryan. It was very close. Randy just barely edged you out. He beat you 2-1 in today's fight.
It's all right.
Yeah, the lack of baseball got you, and I apologize for that one. But the one baseball question that I did put in is the one you got right, Ryan, so well done there. Following the first 6 years of his career in St. Louis, Terry Pendleton left in free agency before 1991 and went on to win the NL's MVP award with the Atlanta Braves. He hit .319 after his career mark in St. Louis was .259. How did people in St. Louis take that at the time, Randy?
Not well.
I didn't think so. I'd never noticed that discrepancy with the batting average to that point, and I was like, I have a feeling St. Louis people were not reacting too well to 60-point jump for the guy.
The other part was that Todd Zeile had been their minor league player of the year as a catcher, and they found out like the first major league game that he played that he wasn't a very good catcher and moved him to third base. And that first year, all credit to George Kissel, who turned Zeile into a pretty good third baseman, but that first year he was not that great.
The 1974 NFL Draft, the Steelers drafted 4 Hall of Famers with their first 5 picks, and they signed a future Hall of Famer as an undrafted free agent. Of course, it was Lambert, or Swan, Lambert, Stallworth, and Webster, and then Donnie Shell, the defensive back, was the undrafted free agent. I looked up Shell's numbers, and insane. Across a 10-year stretch in the NFL, he had 47 picks from his age 25 to age 34 seasons, so 4.7 picks per year. Talk about solid. Last American to win Wimbledon was, in fact, Pete Sampras, part of a trio of wins in 1998, 1999, and 2000. In the 1999 final, it was Sampras against Andre Agassi. So 25 years ago, 2 Americans played in the final. The last American to play in the final was Roddick in 2009.
Oh, there we go.
It's been so
I'll
long.
take that.
Yeah, it's been a little bit for the Americans.
That was the question. Last American to play in the Wimbledon final.
Yeah, 2009. There you go. And there
so
are
close.
3 players in NFL history to tally 4+ seasons with over 2,000 yards from scrimmage. Eric Dickerson and Marshall Faulk did it across their Ram and Colt careers.
Darn it.
It was, in fact, Walter Payton who did it. He did it once in his career, broke 2,100 yards, but then 82, 83, 84, 85, he had just over 2,000 yards all 3 of those seasons. And then, of course, the Super Bowl win in 85. So Walter Payton, Eric Dickerson, and Marshall Faulk, the only players with 4+ 2,000-yard seasons, and a 2-1 win for Randy Carricker in the fight. Ryan, again, thank you so much for joining the fight and joining the show today.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. It's been fun.
Thank you, Ryan.
Ryan.
Appreciate it. Good to have you with us on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we've got the Rush Hour Reset, and then Joe Vitale is going to join us in the 9 o'clock hour here on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Hey, I'm a summer baby. I have a summer birthday, and don't you all love a sweet treat for your birthday? Well, Schnucks wants to celebrate your birthday with a free, freshly baked donut. That's right. It's all part of the new personalized perks in the Schnucks Rewards app. To get the free donut, all you have to do is add your birthday to your Schnucks Rewards profile in the Schnucks Rewards app. And when your birthday rolls around, just clip the free donut coupon in the Schnucks Rewards app and redeem the coupon at checkout, and you get a free donut for your birthday. How cool is that? The coupon good for your entire birthday week. So whatever your palooza is, no worries if you can't make it to the store on your day. Make sure you get your birthday freebie by downloading the Schnucks Rewards app and adding your birthday to the profile, and make sure that you get 2% back on every purchase you make at Schnucks by having the Schnucks Rewards app. I put it to work last night. Joey V is going to get a carrot cake, and I had to use it last night at Schnucks, and I will, I'm sure, today as well, because I'm at Schnucks all the time with the Schnucks Rewards app.
Stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
Hey, congratulations to Teoscar Hernandez of the Doyers. He is the first Dodger to win the Home Run Derby. He held off Bobby Witt last night. Bobby Witt hitting a shot to the bottom of the wall that would have tied the Home Run Derby's final round at 14 apiece, but it went to the bottom of the wall and didn't go over the wall. So Teoscar Hernandez is your Home Run Derby champion for 2024. Congratulations. So the Dodgers spent like $5 billion this offseason, and Teoscar Hernandez was kind of like a throwaway. It was, you sign Yamamoto and you get Glass now and you sign him to the deal, and who is he? Some other ridiculous contract. And, oh, by the way, we signed Teoscar Hernandez too, and he's a Home Run Derby champion.
Oh, by the way, yeah, they have a lot of money, and they definitely spend it. That's for sure. Checkbook baseball, as Michaelis once said.
Yeah.
I just want to see if the swings are messed up after the Home Run Derby. Keep an eye on like a week or two afterwards. Now with Albert, we've talked about it, kind of jump-started his second half of 22, but sometimes these guys participate in this and they get out of whack, and there's a little strategy in the Home Run Derby too to keep yourself at least somewhat fresh as you go along. So not easy to do. I'm not the biggest fan of the Home Run Derby, but it's the only thing on television last night, so I'm watching.
Yeah. Don't you think the biggest story of the day, though, is the national anthem? Ingrid Andress. I had to look it up. I had to pull it up because I could not remember. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with her songs, but she's a 4-time Grammy nominee. That was probably the worst rendition of our national anthem that I think I've ever heard. Topping Fergie. Dan, you were talking about it earlier, but seeing the players' reactions for the when they were on the stars trying to hold back their laughter, it reminded me so much of when Fergie did that.
Yeah, it's not quite going to bring you to tears like before the Super Bowl, that's for sure. Yeah, I love seeing that. And then you got to show something on television, so then you show the crowd and people are like, what's going on here? Looking around at their buddy and saying, what the hell is this?
Not great.
No, not great at all.
The Milwaukee Brewers have started 16 different pitchers this year, 16 different starting pitchers. How would you like to be a Brewers fan watching Corbin Burns start for the American League tonight?
Concerned, for sure. That's why I'm glad that Ryan Helsley isn't participating. It's great that he's an all-star, his second nod, by the way, but he understands that he really needs to rest up, stay healthy to prepare for the second half of the season.
I'm sure that he did it. I think there were some reports that he may have, but if I'm Rob Manfred, I'm saying Paul Skeens is on normal day's rest. He must start for the National League. You can either make that public, you can make it private. I don't care, because the people that are watching this game tonight, for the most part, I think want to watch Paul Skeens pitch. The casual fan is saying, I've never seen the Pittsburgh Pirates this first half of the season, but I've heard all about this guy. I want to see him pitch. He's going to come out throwing 101. He's going to be rared and ready to go. And I bet he pitches well in that first inning.
You know, during the Cardinals' amazing run from 2000 through 2022, basically, not only were they in the playoffs a lot, well over half the time, but they always had a bunch of all-stars too, and I kind of took that for granted.
Yeah.
You know, okay, we're just there's going to be 3, 4, 5 Cardinals introduced. I took it for granted. Now we have one player who's not even going to participate in no position players.
There are 39 first-time all-stars too. Kind of a changing of the guard when you're watching the game tonight, and especially would think at the shortstop position. So many great shortstops in the game today. Mason Wynn, as I mentioned, leads all shortstops in the National League in defensive runs saved. And if you're that casual fan across the country, you're saying, well, not Mason Wynn. Here in St. Louis, you'd say Mason Wynn. He deserves a better look, but I bet he didn't get the kind of look that maybe he deserved.
He'll be an all-star.
I think so. There's some really good ones, though, in the National League, and he'd have to play to a high level.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition. Is it okay if we go back to the Home Run Derby for 1 minute? Because I have a question for you guys. If we were doing like an all-star, all-time Home Run Derby, who would you be putting in there?
Big Mac, Bonds, Griffey.
All-time, though, because you got Babe Ruth.
Oh, yeah. Babe Ruth would be in my... Those are 4 for me.
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore.
Is it weird that I want to say Kyle Schwarber just because it's just
no, it's
comical?
not.
It's comical where he puts baseballs.
What about Henry Aaron?
Henry Aaron would be in there.
He wasn't a prolific, Henry Aaron never hit 50 in a season.
Nope. How about Willie Mays?
I think Willie Mays would probably be there for me.
Roger Maris?
Dick Allen would be.
That would be another one.
Frank Howard.
Who am I thinking of from San Francisco? Come on, Randy, help me out.
McCovey?
Willie McCovey would be in there.
Yeah.
Did you already say Albert? Sorry, I was trying to.
Yeah.
Albert would be in there. Yeah.
Would you put him in there?
I think McCovey's a great call. I would go Big Mac, McCovey, because I want to see this thing going a long ways. Bonds. I think you got to take steroid guys, basically. You do. It's
true.
reality.
Yeah. If you want
Tony?
excitement.
What about Josh Hamilton after what he did at Yankee Stadium?
Hamilton was pretty awesome that year.
Dave Kingman.
Dave Kingman was a big time. I think I might put Richie Allen in there.
That'd be a really good one.
Yeah.
Hitting bombs all over the place.
And he hit them a mile.
Yep.
That's good. That's a good
Yeah,
call.
McCovey hit a ball. Mike Shannon always talked about that. The ball that he hit through the portal in the
Busch
upper
Stadium.
deck. Yeah, at Busch 2.
Still, a lot of people think that's the longest home run ever hit there.
Yeah.
Now, McGuire hit a couple. When he hit it off the post dispatch sign,
unbelievable.
That was ridiculous. But McCovey's from that side of the plate, probably the longest ever hit at Busch Stadium, too.
Yep. Joe Vitale is in the building, which is very cool. That is your Rush Hour Reset. Joey V is going to join us for the next hour here on 101 ESPN.
It's a Tuesday. I want to tell you about Stewart's American Mortgage. If you're someone who is looking to purchase a home or refinance, or if you're looking to consolidate some of that ugly credit card debt, and maybe you don't know exactly what direction to go to in any of these things, let me make it easy for you. Call Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. He's going to help you every step of the way. If it's a new home you're looking to purchase, he'll get you to the closing table fast. How fast? Try 10 days. And he'll get you the best interest rate possible. He also has the bagel loan. You hear us talk about that on 101 ESPN all the time, and that can help you out too. So what is the bagel loan? If you borrow $200,000 or more, there's no underwriting fees, no appraisal fees, no title fees, no lender fees, and no closing costs. Stewie, he is your guy, and he makes it easy for you. Any questions on rates, the industry, the trends, give Stewart a call. Here's his direct personal cell phone line, 314-324-4440, 314-324-4440, or you can Google the bagel loan.
NMLS number 226715.
So we were able to lure Joe Vitale into the studio for an hour. Brooke, Dan, Randy, opening drive, and Joey V. It's good to see you.
It's great to be seen. It's great to be back. I appreciate you allowing me out of the house during the crazy chaos of pickup, drop-offs, breakfasts, and trying to get everyone up and moving in the dog days of the summer at my house.
What's the age range of your kids? When you talk about all of the driving around, what's the age range of the five?
We're 2 to 13, 5 kids in the mix. So roughly every 2 to 3 years is one in there. And they're into just about everything.
On the way, right?
I hope, maybe. No,
really? You're trying to get another one?
That's what I know of. I would hope so. But my wife, she might put a kibosh to that. But no, just the 5 right now.
Yeah.
But I would love a 6 one day. But no, it's been a wonderful summer. It's just like I said, this is the camp. Yeah, the world's changed so much. You know, growing up, we would play in the neighborhood. I mean, I learned to take a wrist shot from my neighbor Ryan Weber, who was a golfer, and we just had pickup games. And you know, as cliche as it sounds, but your mom rings the dinner bell and everyone comes home and you count heads at night and everyone's in the bed and you feel good as a parent. But there's really not a lot of that anymore. So summers have now been completely booked with camps. And that's really the way to get your kids active, out with friends, with buddies, and away from the TVs and tablets. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Okay. So I want you to tell this story. Did Ryan Weber tell you this is a wrist shot, or did you copy him? How did that happen?
It copied him. I just copied him, you know, and that's what's amazing about skill development, I think, in any sport. You know, I think about black bears a lot. Like, you have a mama black bear in the wilderness, and you got her cubs. And I don't speak bear, but if I don't imagine there's a lot of dialogue happening between the mama bear and the cub bears about which berries to eat, which berries to avoid, how to eat them. I mean, it's just you just learn from watching.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's how we do it. We learn from watching. So I would just watch Ryan and, you know, Andy Keys and my brothers and all the kids up and down Sappatina State Street, which was the same street Whitey Herzog lived on. He was just 2 doors down from me. And he was fantastic because he was always stopping and saying hello. But we would play street hockey on the street, and we just learned from each other. And one day I figured it out. I got really nice saucer on it. I was probably 11, 12 years old, and I'll never forget my face. I felt it light up, and Ryan looked at me like he was like lit up for me, and I finally got it. But yeah, that's how you learn. Cool. It's the Sandlot style growing up.
Yeah. Did you play multiple sports growing up, or was it just hockey? That's for me.
It was always everything, but again, you hear so many people talk about make sure your kids are playing, they're well-versed in a lot of sports. It prevents injuries. It helps with their athleticism. There's so many benefits. And I think what happens nowadays, Brooke, is that a lot of parents take that as, okay, I need to sign my kids up for lots of different sports. I don't know if that's necessarily what it's saying. What I interpret that as is how we grew up is I played soccer, football, lacrosse. I played everything, but we played it in our backyard. We played it with our buddies. We played it at recess. I think that that's what this logic of playing multiple sports comes from. And I think that right now, my son, he's 12. His sport is hockey, loves hockey. But he plays everything because when we say go play outside, I go play outside, but you're not allowed to touch a hockey stick. So he's shooting hoops. He's playing lacrosse. He's getting in fights playing soccer and kick. It's just, you play everything, but so when people say, hey, it's good for the kids to play lots of sports, just go outside and play. Play anything, grab a ball, grab whatever you want. You don't necessarily need to be in an organized sport because then it just drives mom and dad absolutely crazy where you're running all over the city.
Did you say getting in fights playing soccer?
I'm sorry?
Did you say getting in fights playing soccer?
Always, yeah. My last game was I got in a fight. We were talking about...
Do you think that's necessary in soccer?
I think it's necessary in every sport.
Yeah.
I think it's necessary in every sport. I mean, we were talking about excessive celebrations the other day, and hockey's the one sport where I think that the players do such a good job managing the game within themselves. And I think I'm not going to say it's the fighting that is the reason. It's the legitimacy of I could potentially have to get into a fight, just the threat. Mm-hmm. It's like, dad's coming home. Oh boy, dad's coming home. Better stand up straight and better get my things in order because the fear of dad coming home is just enough. And I think as long as you have a little bit of that fear, you're okay.
What age do you think it's good for a young athlete, boy or girl, then to isolate on one sport?
Oof, I mean, that is such a great question. To me, I think there's so much gray in there. I think so much of it depends on different things. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, I didn't do it till this time, or my wife who played college volleyball, she didn't do it till that time. I don't think there's a right and a wrong answer, but I do think that as long as they are, active up until mid-high school. To me, mid-high school, I've had a couple great coaches, and it's always about one word, puberty. When kids hit puberty, what you have in an athlete, and until then, it really is a crapshoot. I see a lot of kids. I coach a lot around St. Louis, and there's so many youth hockey players that they're 9 and 10, and parents are like, hey, have you ever seen this kid play hockey? Watch this kid. And and my intention is always like, wow, it's a great player, but wait till they hit puberty.
Yeah,
like wait till puberty hits because you just don't know. You know what I mean? And I've seen it growing up with my peers, and you see it with this younger generation and kids. All of a sudden, I haven't coached a team in 2 months. We just started picking it up again the other day, and the kids that were really falling off last year have grown 2 inches and just have figured out their body. A lot of times it's those big wonky kids with the long limbs. I always say they look like a wet baby giraffe coming out of the womb. They just can't figure out how to walk but then they finally get dialed in and
voice crack.
Yeah, we're voice cracks and it works. So Dan, to answer your question, it's hard. I think when the kids know, they know. And I would always encourage parents just to make sure you try to do as much as you can with the time you have outside of it. And again, it doesn't have to be organized, but move your bodies and enjoy different sports. And I think it really helps prevent burnout.
I always feel, excuse me, Brooke, but I always feel bad for pro athletes when they're done. I take the money out of the equation. Okay, so I don't care if a guy's made $100 million or he's made $1 million. I feel badly for them when they're done playing sports and it's over and they can't do it because, man, it comes to a crashing halt and it's very tough. The competitive nature of a pro athlete is second to none. The lifestyle that you live in terms of just never stopping to train, that kind of thing, I think it's really hard. How did you feel when you were done, and then what now fills your competitive itch?
Well, my kids fulfill my competitive edge. I mean, thank God I have 5 kids.
Would you agree with my statement, though?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, the fact that you go from doing this your entire life. I mean, it's your livelihood. It's all you do. It's all you know. The routine of waking up. I mean, the summers, for example, these pro athletes, they wake up. At 9, they're in the gym. At 11, they're recovering. At 12, they're doing skills on the ice, and then they earn their afternoon of playing golf. I mean, that's essentially it. And they're putting such an investment into their body, and everything is so regimented, so routine. And you're playing a game for a living in front of 18,000 if you're a hockey player, more if you're baseball and football, clearly. So this pressure cooker of an environment, as stressful as it can be, it's very, very intoxicating. It's very contagious, and it's quite frankly very fulfilling. And all of a sudden, the dead halt of what you're saying, I've been there. My career ended because of a fight. Is Messi's international career over after an injury? You never want to see it go out through an injury, potentially. I'm not saying he is done. We don't know yet. But going out an injury, going out healthy, being told you're not good enough, to me, there's no really easy way to go out. And it takes a lot of time and support from your peers, from your friends, of course, your wife and family, to leave that life and leave it behind and now transition into normal everyday life,
right,
which is waking up and just kind of figuring out that next step. And I think for a lot of players, it's how do they use their mind? You know, a lot of times you've been using your body your entire life. You've been physically being able to create a world for yourself, a world for your family. Financially, you're stable. But now all of a sudden, how do I shift from using my body to now using my mind? Because you, quite frankly, you just can't use your body anymore. And it's a big adjustment.
You still had hockey left, and you didn't get to leave on your own terms. I'm sure that you weren't thinking, okay, a fight is going to end my career. Do you ever reflect on that? Because you're a thoughtful guy. You're far from a lunkhead. So
thanks, man. I appreciate that, Randy. Was it a lunkhead?
Well, you know what?
L-U-N-K.
Have you heard of that?
I've heard it maybe a while back. I think my dad called me that a bunch.
Planet Fitness, they have the lunk alarm, right?
Oh, yeah. I think they used to call enforcers lunkheads. So back in, not that any were. I mean, the enforcers were always the smartest and most engaging people on the team. But it's different for you. And because you dealt with the demons of the concussions for a couple of years, I know this is getting into the weeds a little bit, but what's it been like for you, and how long did it take you to come to grips with the fact that it was over and it wasn't on your terms?
Yeah, sure. No, I think that's a great question. And the reality is, I think with anything in life, and we've all been through very, very tough chapters, I think the one common denominator that anyone will tell you to get through it is it's just time. It just takes time. And now looking back, because there has been a lot of time, no, there's no regrets. I mean, I lost my career because of a fight sticking up for a teammate. And people may think, oh, you must regret that. I mean, your whole face got shattered. You dealt with 2 years of agony of concussions and being, obviously dealing with, pain medicine and getting off that and weaning off that, moving back to St. Louis. We just had our third baby. I mean, it was just the craziness, the craziest chapter I've ever been a part of in my life. But over time, things do get better. And then when you have all that time, you can look back and then you think, okay, things kind of worked out maybe the way they were supposed to. And even though it was so drastically hard, but no, for regret to me is, I tell people, regret would have been if I saw Miller go after our assistant captain in that corner in Arizona that night, push him down, give him a cheap shot. Regret would have been if I did nothing.
Wow.
And then 2 days ago, my coach brought me in his office and said, hey, we're going to send you down to Tucson. You're going down the American League. And then maybe I never get a shot in the NHL again. I go, to me, that's how I would lose sleep to this day.
And we've talked about this on the air before, but only peripherally. Can you tell everybody that's listening, what therapy baking provided you during those times?
Oh, it was my therapy. So when on my fight, I broke my temple, my jaw, my whole orbital floor collapsed, and I dealt with concussions. And then, for the pain management, they give you all these opioids and then muscle relaxers, and you have to try to manage that. And then slowly your body's healing, but you still think it's just this weird, between concussions and facial injuries, and then the pills offset everything. There's just this weird, almost like Bermuda Triangle of like, what is what anymore? You don't even know where it is anymore. But eventually you move forward from there. And then I saw, occupational therapy. I started kind of getting my mind better, and nurses and all this other stuff. And I would go to these therapies and I would come back so like unfulfilled. Like it didn't help. Like nothing was helping. I was still miserable. I was still depressed. I was still up all night, and I picked up this book called Tartine Bread, and it was by Chad Robinson. And it was like it's basically the sourdough Bible of the new day and age. And Chad's, of course, a great baker out in San Francisco, still up and kicking. He runs all the tartines out in San Francisco. And I found this book, and I've always loved baking with my dad as a kid. And I just started flipping through this book, and I just can't tell you, I was so interested in this idea of yeast and natural yeast, and how do you cultivate it, and how do you use it for dough, and then dough turns into bread, and then it's like, it was mind-blowing that I'm looking at this beautiful loaf of bread, and flour, water, and salt have created that. Like, the three most basic, I think, things that God created on this earth. We have wheat, we have water, and we have salt. I mean, how much more basic can you get in the world? And then all of a sudden you're looking at this beautiful, sustainable loaf of bread, and you're like, that created that? To me, it was just almost magic. And I think that's what intrigues people about sourdough bread, that it is so magical, where even if you've been doing it for 2 decades, you still wake up and your starters doubled. You're like, wow, that's kind of cool. Like, I don't even know how this all works, but it works. So that was the interest. And the biggest thing that I loved about it was that my wife, in the middle of the night, when I had all my concussions and issues, I'd be up all night. I couldn't sleep. I just became a complete zombie at night. But I'd be up and moving around, and we just had our 3rd baby, and she's like, you got to find a better hobby. You have to find a better hobby, because you're waking up the whole house. Like, I know you're going through a lot. We're all going through a lot, but I just had our 3rd baby. I'm trying to breastfeed, and I'm trying to get some sleep, but you're banging pots and pans. And so then sourdough bread obviously was great, because it's a quiet hobby. And it's mostly inactive time. So I started doing it. And, the math, the timing, the chemistry, I felt like The Beautiful Mind with Russell Crowe. Like, I see equations coming in and out. And I just felt like superhuman that I'm making this all thing jive. And so that's all happening at night now. And then I create this loaf. So first of all, the therapy of using my mind in a way that you have to use for sourdough bread to be good at it, that got me distracted from my problems. But the biggest thing was, when I created that loaf of bread, I was so proud of it. I'll never forget giving it to a friend of mine and saying, hey, this is for you. And that exchange, I literally, you just physically exchanged a carrot cake in my lap. You're probably more joyful than I am.
Oh, totally.
And I have a carrot cake. By the way, Randy, right before I came on, gave me one of his world famous carrot cakes. But the joy in your eyes I'll never understand that joy as the receiver of it. And that's how bread was. I gave it to a neighbor, and I stopped for once in the 3 years, stopped worrying about all my problems. Like, it wasn't about me and my problems. It was about serving something else or someone else. And it's a loaf of bread. It costs like 20 cents to make, but it's a lot of time. It's a lot of time and a lot of dedication. But so that's essentially what got me better. And that's why I am very emotionally attached to bread to this day, because I'll never forget the dark days, and how this idea of a loaf of bread can get you to forget about your worries, get you moving in the right direction, and essentially help you move forward.
Joey Vitale with us on the opening drive. More coming up on 101 ESPN. Hoffman Brothers does so many things in addition to heating and cooling and electrical and plumbing. How about if you're tired of dealing with laundry hassles? Well, Hoffman Brothers has the perfect solution, Laundry Pro. With Laundry Pro, you'll save time, money, and energy. No more detergent or hot water needed. Laundry Pro uses advanced technology to clean your clothes more effectively than ever. Say goodbye to tough stains and hello to fresh, clean clothes every single time. Upgrade your laundry game today. Call Hoffman Brothers or visit HoffmanBros.com to book your appointment and check out Laundry Pro. And while you're talking to them, you might want to find out about what they can do for you. We've got a big storm in St. Louis today, and if you're going to have an unexpected power outage, you want to have a solution. Well, at Hoffman Brothers, they've got one that's quick, safe, and cost-effective. An interlock kit from Hoffman Brothers lets you use your portable generator to power your entire home safely and efficiently. With an interlock kit, you get peace of mind knowing your essential appliances will keep running during a power outage. Learn more by going to HoffmanBros.com or just giving them a call and setting up an appointment at 314-664-3011. Hoffman Brothers, a proud Mitsubishi Electric elite contractor. On 101 ESPN is the great Joe Vitale. He's so much more than a Blues analyst. Brooke, Dan, Randy, the opening drive. Okay, you mentioned that you didn't speak black bear. Joey, I'm going to give you the ability to communicate with one type of animal that you generally can't communicate with. You're Dr. Doolittle, but for only one type of animal. What type of animal would you want to communicate with?
That is I would have to say the African elephant, hands down. I would ask a female African elephant how hard it is to be pregnant. I think it was 21 months.
It's a long time.
It's the longest gestation period of any animal. That's when my wife was pregnant all those years, I always would say to her, hey, at least you're not an African elephant.
I'm sure she appreciated that.
She didn't like it.
Yeah.
If looks could kill, does it say anything?
Yeah.
If a stare could kill, she'd kill me. And I said, well, no, what I meant by that was, you're only doing this for 9 months. An African elephant has to do it for 21 months. Can you imagine? And again, I didn't help myself.
No.
You ever do that where you're with your wife, your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, you say something like, oh, let me explain. And as soon as you explain it, you realize you're just burying yourself deeper. Yeah.
Yes.
That happened actually this morning. My wife, she sneezed. You guys talk about sneezes much? Sneezes fascinate me. And everyone's got almost a different sneeze.
Yeah.
She sneezes like this. I know it's hard to, Rock, you hear me. You guys can see it, but it's hard to obviously on the airwaves. But it's like a I see it coming. And it's like a. I'm like, will you let it out?
No, that was bad.
Let it out. I mean, so. And she goes, what do you mean? I was like, let it out. It's like. I'm like, for God's sakes, there's air that needs to get out. Let it out. Now, there's a balance, right? Because my dad, he's like, I got to step away from the mic a little bit, but he's like, it's like everyone on the block hears him. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how you guys feel about sneezes, but there's got to be right in the middle or somewhere.
I have, I don't know when or why this habit started, but when I sneeze, I go ha-choo-ee. I add an E to the E.
Okay.
Where did that come from?
I have no idea,
It's
but
your
I
patent
do.
sneeze.
Yeah, it is. It's
Yeah,
like
wait for
Randy
that now.
Is there a proper sneeze then? What is the best sneeze?
I think in the elbow. Obviously, we're preventing germs.
right,
Okay, there we go.
right,
There
It's
we go.
muffled a little bit, but let people know you sneeze. Like, let it out a little bit, saying, "Hey, I got stuff coming up in the hairs of my nostril. I got to get it out of my system," and boom.
That is the best way.
This choked up, like, make no noise sneeze. Anyway, it bothered me this morning. I tried to explain to my wife that there's a balance with the sneeze, and she's like, "What are you talking about?" I go, "You have to let it out a little bit." She goes, "This is how I sneeze." I go, "Well, I don't like how you sneeze. I gotta go."
You're like, well, anyways, I got to go do this radio thing. Speaking of which, I always love listening to you and Curbs and the way that you guys go about your broadcasting style. Has there been a game where obviously things are just not going well on the ice for the Blues and you have to fill the time with other things where you and Curbs just really got way off topic, but it turned into such a fun discussion?
Oof, I mean, we talked about why men have nipples in 2018 when the Blues were really bad. Like the beginning of the year, and we were just looking to fill time. And I was brand new to the broadcast, so I wasn't a quite polished, Danny Mac over there. I didn't even kind of know what I was doing. They just gave me a mic and a headset. I was playing 2 years ago, and now I'm just in this seat with Kerber talking hockey. And I remember someone saying like, "Oh, the best broadcasts are, two guys on the couch, basically like watching the game, having a beer." So I took that literally. So my first couple months I was in the HR's office almost on a weekly basis. "Hey, we got to clean this up." I don't know, but anyway, and then Kelly Chase, of course, told me, he's like, "Listen, buddy, if you're not being pulled in once a week, you're not doing a good enough job." So I took.
Did they really pull you in?
Oh yeah, there's a couple.
Really?
Not the nipple one as much. There was there was some sort of, we talked about fertility a little bit and how that science. Yeah, I forget how we got on that. But anyway, so
slippery slope.
It's slippery slope. So 2018 was a tough start to the year. And I remember Tarasenko got hit right in the chest and he went down hard. And I think I said maybe, he took it right off. Or Curbs like, we took it right on the breastplate. And then I was like, yeah, right on the nipple, which is amazing because it's amazing to think why men have nipples. And then we got into this huge discussion about why men have nipples. And it's actually quite fascinating. And most people don't. Do you guys know why men have nipples?
No idea.
Because everybody's born with them?
Enlighten me.
Yeah. So the first 6 weeks of fertility, when you're a little, I think it's called a zygote or a zygote or one of those. Zygote. Thank you, Rock. It's a zygote. When you're a zygote, the first 6 weeks, male and female, the embryo, you develop the exact same. Everything's the same. And then it's not till the 6-week period where the X and the Y separate. And then it either becomes a boy or it becomes a girl. So essentially, we as men we could have been a girl. Dan, you could have been a girl. Randy, you could have been a girl. Brick,
I act like one sometimes. No offense, Brooke.
You know? So that's why. So we got into
That's
this.
where you dig, Dan. That's what he's talking about, digging deeper.
Exactly.
That's what he's talking about.
You got to get out of there.
Got to get out of there quick. So anyways, we got into that. And that took us about 15 minutes into the game. I think we were losing quite a bit. So it was actually quite entertaining. I got more texts about that, and we got more feedback from that. We don't get a lot of feedback from breaking down power play breakouts or how that goal happened. Usually it's our antics about beaver dams and anatomy of humans and gestation periods of animals. Yeah, it's usually that kind of stuff.
Did anybody mentor you along the way? I mean, anybody help you get ready for doing what you're doing?
Oh, I had the best. I mean, it's like me walking into the morning drive little studio here with you guys. I mean, it's the A-team. I had Darren Pang. He was my seatmate. Mm-hmm. He sat by me for 5 straight years. I picked his brain. I don't know if I always feel like Joe Micheletti, maybe to this day, maybe does the best job. I love listening.
He's amazing.
Right?
Yeah, he's amazing.
And he's not super theatrical. I don't know what do you think it is about Joe?
I think he's got a calm demeanor. He explains the game, and he doesn't rip players.
Yes. Yes.
For me, somebody who has fun, and Joe is this, and teaches me something every night.
Yes.
And I learn every time I listen to Joe Micheletti, and I've watched hockey for a long time, but I still learn something from him all the time.
You do.
I think his coaching background really benefits him.
I do. I think so. He's a great man. He's a great person, which I also think helps. But he has that calm presence where he's not fighting for the mic. He's not trying to create language or he's not trying to create cliches in the game. It's just like the game is the game, and he talks the game, but it's in almost in a monotone voice, but it's not boring. I don't know. I can't. It's relaxing. Like I could watch it and be excited when Joe's calling the game. I could also watch it and fall asleep because it's very therapeutic in that sense. So he's got to walk this main balance. But Joe actually met me at the Shack right when I got the job. You know, my first thing I've been told from my dad growing up is whenever you want something, the first thing you have to do is find a mentor. So I get this job and I reached out to the two Joes. Joe Buck, of course, we met at Starbucks, had a great conversation at Starbucks, and then Joe Micheletti, we met at the Shack. This is all in August, heading into my first year, and I'll never forget sitting down. And I said, Joe, I know you're in New York, but I would love to call you sometime and just hear how you do, how you prepare. And he said, Joe, I'm actually coming to visit my family at the end of August for 4 or 5 days. Let's meet up. Which I thought, first of all, was like, wow, you're taking time away from your family. You don't see all that often. But he did. He met me for an hour and a half at the Shack. We sit down. He gives me this fat envelope, and he says, Joey on it. I'll never forget it. He goes, here, this is for you for later. And then we just had breakfast. And we just talked hockey. We talked shop. Congratulations. Little by little, I get to the car, I open this envelope. It's not cash. I was hoping it was going to be like hundreds of cash. But it is 12... those yellow loose leaf. You ever see Joe prepare for games? He still is old school. He's got the yellow loose leaf. It's folded. It's almost folded like an envelope. And he's writing all his notes. Everyone's got their phones nowadays and their speakers and their microphones and audio systems on their phone. He just does it old school. And it's 12 pages. And it's, you know, Joey, congratulations on getting the job. This is what I've learned over the last X amount of years. Wow. And he literally handwritten letter for 12 pages, single space, laid it all out. And this was a letter directly at me. And it's a letter I still have. I still refer back to, you know, and I never forget the first page. And big caps, why? Why and how? He goes, Joe, your job is to say why and to say how. Black and white. The facts of the game, that's none of your business. Statistics, get away from it. You always ask yourself why. It was great. It was a sheet of TV timeouts. Don't have a sip of coffee. You can have a sip of coffee, but don't focus on your coffee. Focus on the bench. Make sure you see all the players there. If you don't, who's missing? Did something happen in the game? Talk back to your... So it's always this little nuts and bolts of the game I just never saw. And so to answer your question, I know it's a long, long answer, Dan, but Joe's certainly out of the gates. Joe Buck was a great conversation we had over at Starbucks.
So we had no chance because we weren't named Joe.
Well, yeah, you got to start with Joe, Giuseppe, which means to do. But Darren Pang sat with him for 5 years there on the plane. Not only his wonderful preparation, but his personality, how to talk to people, how to relate to players, how to relate to coaches, how to relate to general managers. And you know, the thing about Darren is he introduced me to everybody. I love that about him. Like I was kind of the new pony. I was like nervous going into these locker rooms and ranks, and he would always be, hey, Joe, this is Steve. Joe, he's new with us, and he would introduce me. And so I loved that he would take the extra step to introduce. And of course, you know, to me, Chris Kerber and John Kelly, man, their voices, their preparation, their care, how much they care about what they're doing. And there's so many broadcasters nowadays I see, not so many, but there's a handful where you see them at morning skates, you see them in the locker room, and it's a job. You're kind of checking in, you check out, right? I mean, Dan, you've probably seen this in your years as well, where there's a difference between the ones that really, really care and the ones that are just doing it to do it. And we're fortunate in St. Louis to have a wonderful team of, you know, Curbs and Kelly and Darren Pang and, of course, now Jamie Rivers, just guys that care a lot, which is wonderful. And you can't ask for more than that when you're new at something, to look for people to help you along the way.
More with Joey V coming up on 101 ESPN. To tell you about my friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. They have a mission at Chesterfield Fence and Deck to be the very best in customer service and quality craftsmanship. They offer great deals on fences and decks, sunrooms, screen rooms, patios, retaining walls, and more. And at Chesterfield Fence and Deck, it's a company that you can trust with your home. People in St. Louis have trusted Chesterfield Fence and Deck for 56 years and know that you're going to get expert advice from knowledgeable project consultants on selecting the right products for your home. If you give Chesterfield Fence and Deck a call at 800-300-4054 or set up an appointment on the web at chesterfieldfence.com, they're going to come out, provide you a free, no-obligation project design. And they're very helpful in the way that they'll design your project because they've got a great photo gallery of previous items that they have accomplished. And you know that you're going to get a great idea from Chesterfield Fence and Deck. And right now, mention this show with Randy Carricker and receive 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. At chesterfieldfence.com, 800-300-4054. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here for Universal Windows Direct. The heat has arrived and it's only going to get hotter from here. Do not cool off the outside this year. You should go call my guys over at Universal Windows Direct. Look, summertime is my favorite time of year, but I don't like the energy bill that comes with it. And that's where Universal comes in handy. Their windows feature Super Spacer technology, which helps keep the edge of the glass warmer, holds the window seal longer, and makes your windows last up to 5 times longer than other Windows systems. So your windows from Universal perform better and they last longer. Go and schedule your free in-home estimate today, and for every 2 windows you buy, get the next 2 for free, plus 0% financing for 60 months. That's 3 years. Restrictions apply. Universal Windows Direct backs it all up with a true lifetime warranty as long as you own the home and a 20-year warranty to the next homeowner. Mention my name and get an additional $250 off your next project. Just go to uwd.com. That's uwd.com, and like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The first Dodger to ever win the Home Run Derby last night, Teoscar Hernandez outlasts Royal Star Bobby Witt Jr. 14-13 in the final round. And the All-Star break continues with the All-Star game tonight. Pre-game show starts right here on 101 ESPN, starting at 6 p.m. And yesterday there was an update from City Training. Sam Adeniran not training with City, quote-unquote, from John Hackworth at the presser. We're in talks with another club, but nothing has been decided. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Hey, don't forget, Fast Lane is going to square off against the Rizzuto Show from 105.7 The Point to this year's softball home run derby, hosted by the O'Fallon Hoots next Saturday, July 27th, at Carshield Field in O'Fallon Mo. There's going to be a fast pitch home run derby that night featuring Rick Ankiel, Brian Jordan, and more MLB alums. General admission tickets on sale now for just $15, brought to you by Swiss Air Heating and Cooling, Faster House, and Zwickle Light. Get all the details on this year's O'Fallon Hoots Home Run Derby now at 101ESPN.com. Joe Vitale, kind enough to join us in studio here on the opening drive. Best book you've read lately?
Oh, we got to say the Bible, right? I mean, that's just mandatory. The Bible, of course, across the board. I'm actually in a big cookbook right now, Rocco's Kitchen. That one, and Stanley Tucci.
Oh, good.
Stanley, Stanley Tucci. You ever seen his show
on CNN?
On CNN,
love it.
That is my favorite. What's it called? Search for Italy, or Search for Italy with Stanley Tucci. If you haven't seen it, Brooke, have you seen the show?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh my gosh, you want to talk about escaping reality?
I've not seen it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it is. It makes you want to go to Italy.
Yeah, they discover Italian food in different parts of the country, and it's fantastic.
I can go through a cookbook. I mean, I can take days going through a cookbook. I actually got in trouble last week. I was in Seaside, Florida, by my daughter. She's 13, so she's got all the answers now, which is great because I need a lot of help.
Just wait till they get to 16.
Oh, is that what happened? Okay.
Yeah.
But at least they can drive away.
Exactly, yeah.
She's stuck.
Get out of the house.
I was stuck, and I'm actually flipping through the Stanley Tucci book, and I'm in the bookstore. We're in Rosemary, and people who've been down to the 30A and Seaside and Rosemary, they got a couple.
It's like St. Louis South.
It's you run in. I promise you'll probably run into.
You run into everybody from St. Louis. Yes,
I agree with you. You'll run into more of your friends in Seaside, Florida, than you would if you're going down the street of Kirkwood. Right. In my opinion. But we're at this bookstore. It's Sundog Books, which is in Seaside. I bet a lot of people listening, they understand. This is an old school bookstore. You walk in, you smell the plywood, you smell the old books. It's awesome. So I'm flipping through this cookbook, and you guys are a smart group here. I would love it. And don't hold back. I would love your advice. There's this book I'm going through. It's okay. But I see on there Nona's meatballs. And I go, whoa. And they were doing a couple things different to their meatballs. They added milk. I use water, things like that. So I take out my phone and I take a picture of the recipe from the cookbook. And I put it back. And my daughter, Summer's like, what are you doing?
That's bad ball, man.
Is it bad ball?
Bad ball. You got to buy the book.
No, time out.
No.
Rock says I'm fine.
Yeah,
Do you need the rest of the book? Do you really need the rest of the book?
I want to have a little roundtable discussion here. So I snap a picture. I got it. Close the book. Snap it back. My daughter, who's 13, again, she's all the answers. I kind of worry that she's right. She goes, Dad, you can't do that. If you do that, you got to buy the book.
Got to buy the book.
I go, I don't want the whole book. There's only one good recipe in this book. I just want the one. It's like a $60 book. All right, so what do you think?
I think taking the picture is fine, because I guarantee you that if I go on right now and Google search Nona's meatballs and you knew the basics of the recipe, that you would find it. I guarantee it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Does that help, Dan? Or?
I'm leaning.
You're leaning.
I'm leaning.
Okay.
Bad ball.
Bad ball.
Bad ball.
Really?
It's bad baseball.
Why do you think so?
Oh, there's people that work in that bookstore that need the 60 bones. That's the way I'm going.
And I would imagine the author would appreciate.
The author would appreciate a little kickback on that.
Here's the thing. But if the book is on Amazon, for example, there's a very strong likelihood that page will wind up on Amazon at no charge.
Randy, I'm with you. I just think it's bad form. I'm going to call out Joey right now and say it's bad form, Joey.
Okay, so Rock's helping me out here.
Should have bought the
So what'd you do?
I don't care, by the way.
Libraries have cookbooks, which is a good point. Which you can rent those for a very reasonable price. Free. So I guess my question is, how do authors make money anymore? Like, if you're a cookbook author,
Right. You don't.
You
steal
must
your
just
recipes.
not. Okay, so you. I was hoping to feel a little bit better.
I'm sorry,
but I appreciate your honesty. I asked for honesty.
Well, I'm leaning though.
You're leaning.
Now I'm kind of on the fence.
Okay.
Randy has helped me get on the fence with this, but then I start thinking about it logically. And you got to buy the book.
You got to buy the book. So is it different than sitting down with like a chapter book? Yeah. And you sit down for a couple hours, maybe you get a coffee from Starbucks or whatever, and you just start reading the book?
Well, the thing is, too, the author has probably already sold the rights. So bookstores have to buy it anyway. So they distribute it, and the author gets an upfront piece.
So it's the bookstore I'm cheating, essentially.
I'm just saying the bookstore.
You're seeing the bookstore.
There's poor little Sally over there waiting for you to buy that. and Sally looks at you and goes, come on, man.
Is there any better name for a librarian than Sally?
Sally.
I
Yes.
mean, every librarian has a Sally.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
Karen or Sally. I feel like every time I introduce myself.
Uh-oh. Karen's not a good name anymore, I feel like.
It is
Karen's
interesting.
getting a bad rap.
It
I
is.
saw this the other day. My
I
son
know some
called
good
me a Karen the
Karens.
other day. I go, my name's Joe. What are you talking about? It's the same, Dad.
Now, this is when you get called into HR.
This is when I called him HR. I should stop there. Randy, go ahead.
I think that you are probably one of the few people left, especially in your age group or even my age group, that is sustaining the cookbook industry. You actually do have cookbooks. How many people are actually buying cookbooks these days besides you?
I don't think many, and I think because of what I just said, I think people are flipping through.
Right.
They're finding their favorite 2 or 3.
But at least you're buying some.
At least you're buying some. But then again, I think about the authors of these books, too. I mean, at some point, we're going to run out of food to make. Like, why are we still making cookbooks? No, you disagree?
I agree with you 100%.
It's like music. I think one day, physically, we are going to run out of music to write. That's what they say, because there's only so many notes that you can combine and exchange. And we're not there yet. But one day we're going to run out of music. One day we're going to run out of new things to cook. And these people keep pumping out these cookbooks. It's like, I mean, you change one little thing from a recipe you saw in another cookbook, and then you're going to sell it and make, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't know. If I want to take a picture, Dan, stop looking at me like that. I want to take a picture. You're judging me. You're cookbook judging me right
You
now.
asked for an honest answer. So I'm giving you my honesty, and now you don't like my honesty.
No, I appreciate your honesty. Like you were telling that story of Jack Buck, the honesty, and you were straight.
Oh yeah,
on the airways on the way in. I was listening to that.
Yeah.
By the way, Andy Roddick, come on, Randy, you gotta nail that one.
It was a coin flip. Andy Roddick, the last American to play.
But he said win.
I know, but I thought he
There's
won.
a little trickery.
We've had many discussions about Andy Roddick. That's why the only reason why I knew it, because we've had a lot of debates in the locker room, a lot of hypotheticals. Would you rather win Wimbledon or be married to Brooklyn Decker?
Oh.
The consensus was Brooklyn Decker.
Yeah, I think so.
By a landslide. So I think it worked out pretty well for Andy Roddick.
I think a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the guys also play tennis and hockey. That's obviously a big thing to do. Who is your favorite tennis player right now? Did you watch Wimbledon, by the way? Are you a fan of Carlos Alcaraz?
Oh, that was just an amazing, amazing final. I felt bad for, you felt bad that it didn't have as much, drama.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it was such a landslide. This is how some of these, it was almost reminding me of both soccer games I watched on Sunday. I'm so used to the drama. I mean, that Argentina-France game, the World Cup a couple years ago. By the way, if you're not into soccer, you might want to get into soccer. I've always told people, go rewatch the France-Argentina final World Cup game 2 years ago. But anyway, so my expectations of the Copa and Euro on Sunday were a little bit like that. I think the Wimbledon final was similar, to that. But Djokovic, I mean, you can't deny what he's done. And you look at some of the greats. I don't know why, but to me, he's not really, at least I'm not extremely well versed in tennis, but you just always hear about Nadal and Federer, and I don't know if Djokovic really, I know he's in that conversation, but is he really one of those that, you play tennis and pickleball quite a bit. Is he up there? Is he like the guy now above the Federers and Nadals?
And that's why when you're talking about this past weekend not being so interesting is because you're starting to see that passing of the torch from Djokovic to these younger players. There's so much of the younger guys coming in, like a Carlos Alcaraz. Just 21 years old. That was his 4th Grand Slam, and he is so dominant that it feels like Djokovic was definitely a part of that era. I think that people pair Federer and Nadal together because they had such a close relationship, and there was almost like a rivalry with Djokovic.
Yeah. But
he's
amazing.
up there, definitly. He deserves a lot of credit.
It is amazing. And to your point, there's so many of these hockey players that are, pickleball is, I know you're a huge pickleball. This is where I was out with the Prospects a few weeks ago when they were in town. We actually went to that Chicken and Pickle in St. Charles. I think the Blues.
Did you like it?
It was fun. I love pickleball. We played pickleball growing up. When I went to Chaminade, this is back in 98. Joe Morgan, you guys know the name Joe Morgan? He was Gavain's assistant on the varsity men's soccer team. He's been there forever. I think he's now gone. But Joe Morgan, he was awesome. He had a Barracuda in his office. He was our PE teacher. He was just the coolest dude in the world. And I know some people listening out there who went to Chaminade remember Joe. But he had us playing pickleball in 7th grade. And so this is back in 97. when I remember we were all like, what is pickleball? And then pickleball went to bed for like 20 years. And then all of a sudden it's back. It's like cauliflower. Like cauliflower made a comeback. Can you imagine if you're the cauliflower agent in the world? Like, hey, hold the phone. We got pizza crusts. We got rice. Like, you thought you were a dying breed. Welcome back. Like,
We're going to head down the stretch. We got one more thing for Joey next on 101 ESPN.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here, and this year we decided it was time to make a major upgrade to our home by updating our bathroom. We have this house in U City. It's over 100 years old, and we love it, but we never exactly loved our main bathroom. So we decided to reach out to one of our great sponsors here of 101 ESPN, and that is E&B Granite. Excuse me. E&B Granite's team visited our house for a free consultation, and they came up with the vision of how to really transform our bathroom. My favorite part of working with E&B Granite was stopping by their amazing showroom to explore their large selection of in-stock custom countertops and cabinet options. Jen was the one who was working with us, and she has been fantastic. She came up with so many great ideas that really fit within our budget, and that's what they've been doing there at E&B Granite for over 20 years, turning visions into realities. So schedule your free consultation by calling 314-645-9300 or go online at embgranite.com or stop by their showroom today and make sure you mention that I sent you.
I'm starting my own breakfast club in McDonald's. Me and my morning crew can discuss the most important topics of the day, like what to get with buy one, get one for $1. There's a sausage McMuffin with savory hot sausage and melty American cheese, the sausage McGriddles with soft, warm griddle cakes tasting of sweet maple, a sausage biscuit with sizzling hot sausage, and hash browns that are perfectly crispy. If you love buy one, get one for $1 at McDonald's, join the club. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices of participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Valid for item of equal or lesser value.
When I needed a new vehicle in April, I went to autoloanpro.com to make sure that I got the best financing, and I know I did. They said, hey, what would you like your payment to be? How long would you like it to be for? And so I gave them the numbers that I wanted, that I was striving for within reason, and they were able to come up with the perfect auto loan for me. And it's really notable because anyone can sell you a car, but it takes a pro to do it right. And at autoloanpro.com, they're working with over 50 lenders, not vendors, to help you get the very best financing for your vehicle. And when you go to autoloanpro.com, not only can you download their playbook as to how to buy a vehicle, but you can also get your vehicle from them. And I did from the Frank Lita group. And so I'm very, very happy with my experience with autoloanpro.com. And I know you will be too. Any person that can make a payment can get a loan from autoloanpro.com. You need to know that. And if you're financing a car, there's only one thing to know. Choose the Auto Loan Pro at autoloanpro.com.
Is that all, sir?
Yep, all I can afford.
Price check on ED Meds. Manager to the front, please.
Paying too much for your ED meds? Want discreet, convenient pickup or free delivery to your home or workplace? The Medicine Shop in St. Charles is your destination. Get generic sildenafil for less than $2 a pill with a prescription. A full pharmacy with a quality promise and the personal care and attention you deserve. Call 636-949-5593.
stcharles.medicineshop.com.
So, Joey, we were talking to Shenner a couple of weeks ago, and he said he's back and ready to, he's going. He was already skating with his brother, and I think some other people. He was skating with Joel Edmondson at the time. How about you as a broadcaster now? When do you start feeling the itch to get back to hockey?
I'm always in the itch. I'm always reading and researching and let my mind wander to try to put things together. I have a notepad at home. I always will jot different things down that I do want to bring into the broadcast, or at least ask questions for coming up in camp. So, you know, you never really take time off but I'm excited. I'm excited about the direction of this team. I'm excited about the addition of Suter. I think we need a little bit more presence, like just the presence of being a potential Hall of Famer in that room to try to keep things in line a little bit. And I love that our young guys are going to take a big step. I still think we have a top 4-3 goaltender in the league, and he will be that way for another at least 3 years before he starts to fall off. So there's a lot of really exciting things. We also talked to Drew Bannister briefly at the Centene last week. This coach has got some fire. I'm telling you right now, he's not getting the respect I think that he hasn't really earned it yet, so I want to say that, but it's coming. This is a great coach, and he's a passionate coach. And the way he was speaking to the people, the media, the people, the fans, and even the players, this guy's got presence to him, and he's going to be coaching this game a very long time. So we're very lucky to have him.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much for stopping by. We always love talking to you, and when we get a whole hour, we're thrilled.
Anytime. You guys are great. Love being a part of your show, and thank you for welcoming me in, and we'll do it again soon.
You bet.
Yeah.
Joe Vitale with us on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Don't forget you can hang out with Jamie Rivers and Stella Artois on Thursday from 6 to 8 at Helen Fitzgerald's. Stella Artois partnering with Hot Ones to bring hot wings and hot trivia to St. Louis. If you sign up to play, visit Helen's to find out how to register to participate and compete in the competition, or just come hang out and watch the festivities. Thursday, enjoy some free Stella sampling and your chance at attendance prizes. Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. with Jamie Rivers at Helen Fitzgerald's. Get more info at 101ESPN.com. Great job today by our producer, audio, video engineer, the one, the only Matthew Rocchio. Brooke, did you have fun today?
Yes.
And Danny Mac, you were awesome.
Oh, you were the best.
And Joey V was awesome as well. Thanks to you, sir. And we appreciate you tuning in, texting in.
Forgot to add that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And being a part of the show. For all of us until tomorrow morning at 7, have a terrific Taco Tuesday, St. Louis.